Chapter 1286. Even though it had only been a short period of time, the price war seemed to have made them experience a huge battle. However, they didn't dare to truly relax. Everyone was tensed up because they knew that the next auction was more important. Because there was something more precious than old-time tea. That was the longevity elixir. If old-time tea was a treasure that was collected by those big shots in case of emergency, then the longevity elixir was something that every martial artist longed for. Because it could prolong life. Not just 1 or 2 years but 30 years. For those dying old people, 1 or 2 days was already a luxury, let alone 30 years. Therefore they would do anything to get the longevity elixir. After half an hour, the 10th elder walked onto the stage again. Everyone's hearts were in their throats because they knew that the second auction was about to begin. As expected, the 10th elder was as decisive as ever. He announced the second auction as soon as he stepped onto the stage. The second auction item is called the longevity elixir. I'm sure everyone has heard of its effects. That's right. It can increase one's lifespan by 30 years. Everyone knows that life, old age, sickness, and death is the law of nature. It is irreversible. However, the longevity elixir is so heaven-defying that it can take one's life and increase one's lifespan by 30 years. I'm sure I don't need to tell you how precious it is. Seeing everyone's heated gazes, the 10th elder smiled and said again, there are a total of 4 longevity elixirs being auctioned this time. What? For? Why are there only 4? Yeah, that's too little. Hearing the 10th elder's words, everyone was stunned. In their opinion, there should be at least 10 longevity elixirs. Who would have thought that there would only be 4 longevity elixirs? 4 longevity elixirs were too little. How many powerhouses and high-ranking officials were there? Adding them all up, it was a terrifying number. 4 longevity elixirs were not enough. Seeing the dissatisfaction of those people, the 10th elder took a deep breath. Of course, he knew that 4 longevity elixirs were very little. However, this was Lin Xian's idea. Lin Xian naturally had his reasons for doing so. The rarer something was, the more valuable it was. The longevity pills were precious to begin with. If such a treasure appeared in large quantities, it would give people the impression that it was worthless. Lin Xian wouldn't do that. He wouldn't let a large number of longevity pills appear in front of everyone. Therefore he only took out 4 pills for the countless experts to fight over. Only the treasures that one had obtained after expending countless amounts of wealth would be cherished. It would also better reflect the value of the longevity pill. Therefore, even if the powerhouses below complained, Lin Xian's decision would not change. The 10th elder had received Lin Xian's reminder, so he took a deep breath and said loudly, now, the first longevity pill will be auctioned. The starting price is 10 million, and each increment must be at least 1 million. Hearing the 10th elder's voice, the experts' faces turned ugly. However, they had no choice but to participate in the auction. At the very least, they had to obtain a longevity pill first. The rest could be discussed later. The longevity elixir was much more precious than the old-time tea. Therefore, the price of the longevity elixir skyrocketed from the very beginning. Soon, it broke through the 1 billion mark. 5 billion. 8 billion. 10 billion. Last time, the last set of old-time tea was auctioned off for 11 billion, but now, the first longevity elixir had broken through that price. No wonder Lin Xian had set a threshold for the auction. At this auction, those with less than 10 billion should not even think about it. 15 billion. Xia Zhuangzhu of the Deity Sword Villa bid 17 billion. This was the first elder of the Divine Bird Palace. Although they had a good relationship with the Duan family, Lin Xian did not do anything to them this time. Therefore he could participate in the auction now. 18 billion. The Heavenly Fire sect was also a top 6th-rank sect. The bidder was an old man with long hair and beard. His whole body was covered in flames, forming a flame robe that draped over his body. 20 billion. At this time, Shen Lingchuan from VIP Room 1 spoke again. Haha, this old man also wants to play. 23 billion. This time the bidder was an old man. He had a head full of white hair, but his face was as delicate as a baby's. Although his eyes had seen the vicissitudes of life, they were very lively like an old urchin. This was a powerhouse of the Merry Woods. You guy, aren't you practicing the heavenly immortality art? Why are you still here competing for the longevity elixir? The elder of the Murong family also spoke. 21 billion. Hearing this astronomical price, Wang Li and the other disciples of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were shocked. Even Lin Xian's eyelids were twitching. 20 billion, this was a huge amount of wealth. However, he also knew that the further one went, the weaker the effect of spirit stones. At least, some of the extinct treasures could not be bought with spirit stones. For example, if he did not take out the longevity elixir for auction, these people would not be able to buy it even if they had countless spirit stones. Murong Qingqing gritted her teeth. You guy, can't you give me a longevity elixir for free? Give it to you? What do you want it for? You're so young and beautiful. Lin Xian laughed. Murong Qingqing lightly snorted, then said, Of course I'm not using it for myself. It's not that I can't give it to the Murong family. Lin Xian tapped his finger on the table, then looked at Murong Qingqing and said, But don't you want to do something? Something? What do I want to do? Murong Qingqing tilted her head with a puzzled expression. For example, you can kiss me a little or go warm the windows. Go to hell, you bastard, you're too despicable. Murong Qingqing's face immediately turned red. Lin Xian continued to laugh. What, are you shy? Since you're going to marry into my family sooner or later, why don't you do it now? I can give your family a few longevity elixirs. Hearing this, Murong Qingqing's face turned even redder. She scolded in a low voice, Go to hell, I hate you the most. Sigh, if that's the case then it's really a pity. Lin Xian sighed heavily, but his eyes were full of smiles. Then he picked up the immortal tea, took a sip and looked down once again. The bidding in the main hall became more and more intense. In the end, the first longevity elixir was bought by the Murong family at a price of 30 billion. Instantly, the other king families and rank 6 sects sighed. Among the king families, other than the Duan family, the rest were all present. However, not many people from the Palace of Gods of War came. Because of Lin Xian, they didn't need to bid. If there was a need, Lin Xian could provide it for free. As for the Immortal Martial Academy, Lin Xian also gave one to Dean Xian. Therefore, the main competitors were the Murong family, the Shen family, and the Merry Woods. As expected, the second longevity elixir was bought by the Merry Woods at a price of 40 billion. The third longevity elixir was bought by the Shen family at a price of 53 billion. Everyone, this is the last longevity elixir, and there won't be any more in the future. Chapter 1287. Everyone, this is the last longevity pill. There won't be any more longevity pills in the future. What? There won't be any more longevity pills in the future. Everyone exclaimed in shock. Many people even went crazy and kept fiddling with their hair. Previously, they couldn't bear to bid and wanted to wait until the next auction. Who would have thought that it would be a peerless longevity pill? The longevity pill would only be auctioned once and would not be auctioned again. Why is this happening? No way. Can't we buy it even if we have money in the future? The crowd went crazy. Seeing everyone's dissatisfaction, the 10th elder hurriedly explained, Everyone, the longevity pill is heaven-defying. I'm sure everyone knows that it requires extremely precious herbs. To tell everyone the truth, these herbs are all extinct. The young master obtained some in the hidden sky secret realm. That's how the longevity pill came about. However, these pills are limited and have been around for a long time. Once used, there's no replacement. That's why the longevity pill is limited. The more you use, the less you have. Hearing this, everyone was disappointed. That's right, the longevity pill was a peerless longevity pill. Furthermore, the herbs used to make it could not be found in the Jianghu continent. Even if these people were anxious, there was nothing they could do. No, even if I have to risk my life, I have to get the last longevity pill. If we miss this chance, I'm afraid we won't have another chance in the future. The older generation went crazy and did not hesitate to take out all their wealth to exchange for a longevity pill. Soon, the price rose from 10 billion to 30 billion. It did not slow down and soon broke through the 500 mark. The third auction was 50 billion, but this time the price did not stop there. Instead, it rose rapidly. 60 billion. Suddenly, a low voice came from the main hall. The voice was not loud, but it was unusually clear. Not only that, the older generation and the experts of the various large families trembled when they heard the voice. A look of shock appeared in their eyes. Everyone's expression changed when they heard the voice. Even the peerless experts of the large factions narrowed their eyes. That was because the power of the voice had surpassed that of a ninth heaven supremacy. Of course, he had not become a true king, but he was not someone these people could compete with. A half-step king. Everyone was shocked. They did not expect such a person to appear in the auction. Lin Xian also raised his eyebrows when he heard the situation. A half-step king was a terrifying existence. Even Sword Venerables peak. Who would have thought that he would appear now? Inside the palace, many people extended their souls to search for that half-step king. A cold snort caused everyone's mind to tremble. They hurriedly withdrew their soul power and didn't dare to casually probe. This was naturally a warning from that half-step king. As an existence that surpassed the supreme experts, he possessed supreme prestige. How could he allow others to casually probe him? Fortunately, the other party only gave them a warning and did not attack them. Otherwise, many of the people present would not have suffered heavy injuries to their souls. It was even possible for them to become idiots. It's clear that he's someone we haven't investigated before. On the Martial Heaven continent, kings and half-step kings were extremely powerful existences. So these people all knew about them. Even if there were some hidden kings who didn't come out all year round, these large powers still knew about them. But the person in front of them was not one of them. Although his origin was strange, his strength was a genuine half-step king's. That's why no one dared to raise the price. Of course, the king families were an exception. This was because their families also had half-step kings. Moreover, not only did they have half-step kings but they also had supreme kings. They were the peak of the continent. Therefore they did not fear that mysterious half-step king. 63 billion. Murong family's elder bid again. 65 billion. Shin family's elder bid. 68 billion. Mary Woods's elder bid. That mysterious half-step king snorted coldly. 75 billion. The sudden increase of almost 10 billion made those king family's elders suck in a breath of cold air. Although the longevity pellet was good, the price was too ridiculous. Moreover, it seemed like the other party was determined to get it. Even if they continued to bid, there would be no result. Therefore, the three king families stopped bidding. In the end, the fourth longevity pellet was won by the mysterious half-step king at the price of 75 billion. The items in this auction were all sold. Those king families who got the longevity pellet let out a sigh of relief. Those warriors who did not get it were extremely envious. In the VIP room, Lin Xian drank the last mouthful of old-time tea and stood up. It's my turn now. He did not plan this auction simply to sell items. He also wanted to rope in these powers. Therefore, at the last moment he still needed to make an appearance. The hall was extremely lively. Everyone was about to leave when they saw another figure appear on the auction stage. Seeing that figure, everyone sat down again. They realized that it was Lin Xian. They knew Lin Xian's identity very well. Not only was he the owner of the auction, but he also provided old-time tea and the longevity pellet. Therefore, Lin Xian's appearance made these people very suspicious. At the same time, they also had unlimited hope. Is there a turning point? Some people were excited, especially those who did not get old-time tea and the longevity pellet. Young Master Lin, are you really not going to sell the longevity pellet in the future? If you're not selling the longevity pellet, then what about old-time tea? There should be more of that, right? A group of people asked one after another. The hall was very noisy. Lin Xian said loudly, "Everyone please calm down. I'm here to talk to you about this." Hearing this, everyone quieted down. They all pricked up their ears and listened carefully. I have old-time tea and longevity pellet, but I really don't have a lot. What? You have both? Then why don't you auction them? Everyone was first shocked, then dissatisfied. Why should I auction them? Lin Xian asked calmly. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They opened their mouths but could not say the reason. Yes, why should he auction them? The longevity pellet belonged to him. He was free to do whatever he wanted. To tell you the truth, I still have some old-time tea. But I really don't have many longevity pellets left. All the longevity pellets I have can be counted on one hand. Chapter 1288. Young Master Lin, just say what you have in mind, an elder from the Heavenly Fire sect said. Hearing that, the others nodded. Indeed, if Lin Xian did not want to sell it to them, they could have just kept it to themselves. But now that he said it but did not want to auction it, it meant that there must be other ways to obtain it. As expected of someone from a large faction, he was smart. Lin Xian was secretly delighted and said again, there are indeed other ways to obtain it. From today onwards, I will establish a first-class hall. In the first-class hall, we will provide old-time tea. Hearing that, everyone's eyes lit up. Judging from his words, he should have a lot of old-time tea. How can we enter the first-class hall? Many people were tempted because long-term consumption of old-time tea could also slow down aging. Very simple. Become an ally of the Palace of Gods of War and you can enter the first-class hall. My first-class hall not only has old-time tea, but also other rare spiritual wine and spiritual tea. I guarantee that they are all of the best quality, but they are all clearly priced. Lin Xian's meaning was obvious. If one wanted to buy old-time tea, they had to enter the first-class hall first. Otherwise, no matter how rich they were, they would not have the right to buy it. As for the meaning of being an ally, they all understood. Now, Lin Xian and the Duan family were fighting fiercely, fighting for the leadership of the Palace of Gods of War. In the past, the Duan family was powerful and was about to take control of the Palace of Gods of War. But ever since Lin Xian appeared, he turned the situation around in an extremely short time. Now, it seemed that Lin Xian was going to counterattack. If you want to join the first-class hall, you need to prove your allegiance. I'm sure all of you are aware of this. Lin Xian said slowly. Indeed, he would not let anyone who wanted to fish in troubled waters enter the first-class hall. Hearing that, the large families fell silent and stopped thinking about this matter. Lin Xian was not in a hurry. Instead, he smiled faintly. Of course, I will give everyone some time to consider this matter. I believe that after you drink old-time tea, you will know how to make a decision. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that Lin Xian was very confident in old-time tea. However, they had only heard of the legend of old-time tea and had never really tasted it. It seemed that he could only ask those who had taken photos of old-time tea later. Young Master Lin, where are the longevity pills? Does Class 1 Hall have it as well? Finally, someone asked the most important question. When these words came out, everyone was extremely shocked. Lin Xian explained, I'm sure everyone knows how precious the longevity pill is. To tell you the truth, I only have 5 left. Among these 5 pills, 3 of them extend one's lifespan by 30 years, and 2 of them extend one's lifespan by 50 years. What? 50 years? Many people's eyes turned red when they heard this. Who would have thought that Lin Xian actually had a pill that could increase one's lifespan by 50 years? Young Master Lin, if you have any conditions, just say it. Don't keep us in suspense. Some of the more impatient elders couldn't wait any longer. Kill 3 core elders of the Duan clan, get a longevity pill. Kill young Master Ling Feng, get a longevity pill. Kill Wu Zun, get a 50-year-old longevity pill. Kill the head of the Duan clan, get a 50-year-old longevity pill. Lin Xian's voice echoed throughout the hall. What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that Lin Xian's conditions were to assassinate the higher-ups of the Duan clan and the head of the Duan clan. That was too shocking. After all, the Duan clan was extremely powerful, equivalent to a king clan. The head of the Duan clan was the deputy palace master of the Palace of Ares, and his son, Wu Zun, was a peak venerable. Young Master Ling Feng was also a representative of the younger generation of the mainland, but Lin Xian wanted to assassinate them. That was too crazy. There were a total of 5 longevity pills. First come, first served. If you were late, you would get nothing. Lin Xian reminded them again. Everyone's mouth twitched. To be honest, they were really hesitant. Although the longevity pill was good, the Duan clan was also extremely terrifying. Once the assassination failed, the Duan clan would definitely retaliate crazily. Thus, no one dared to make a decision. However, at this moment, the mysterious half-step king asked, Are you telling the truth? Of course. If you can bring their bodies back, the longevity pill is yours. Lin Xian said. No way, is that mysterious half-step king going to attack the Duan clan? This is earth-shattering news. When the news of the longevity pill reached those hidden clans, someone might make a move again. Yeah, the Duan clan is in danger this time. This Lin Xian is too powerful. He actually used such methods to mobilize the heroes of the world. Everyone was shocked. In the following days, the news spread like a storm, instantly spreading throughout the entire Sky Martial continent. For a moment, everyone was talking about this matter. When the Duan clan found out about this, they were furious. Damn it, damn it. Young Master Ling Feng was so angry that he shouted like an angry lion, scaring the people around him into kneeling on the ground. They had never seen young Master Ling Feng so angry because in their memories, young Master Ling Feng had always been like an iceberg-killing god, controlling everything. However, the other party was now exposed. It could not be helped. It was because of Ling Xian's kill order. Speaking of which, they also had an assassin organization, and it was the top assassin organization in the blood field. However, compared to the other party, their assassin organization was incomparably weak. Because the other party's reward was too terrifying. It was the longevity pill. It was a divine medicine that could be auctioned for 80 billion. It could even defy the heavens and take one's life. Everyone was tempted by such an item. Although it was difficult for some large factions to make a decision in a short period of time, it was hard to guarantee that no one would not secretly make a move. For a moment, the entire Duan clan was facing a great enemy. Not only that, some of the Duan clan's resources, mines and shops were all affected. Because they wanted to join the elite hall. They had to show proof of their loyalty. Since the Duan clan was on guard and could not kill, they could only take action from the resources. Therefore, within a day, the Duan clan's businesses were severely affected. On the other hand, Lin Xian's side of the Palace of Ares was rapidly expanding. This change was like a violent storm, swift and decisive. In a short period of time, the entire situation had undergone an earth-shattering reversal. Lin Xian looked at the news in his hand and nodded continuously. The effects of the old-time tea and the longevity pill were indeed amazing. Just the elite hall alone had attracted many sixth-rank sects to join. Among them were some sects that had previously relied on the Duan clan. However, they had now defected and joined them. The Wang clan had not joined yet, but their attitude had changed. Many of the sects that had cooperated with the Duan clan had now withdrawn. It would not be long before the Duan clan suffered another heavy blow. Chapter 1289. The King clans hadn't joined yet, but their attitudes had changed. Many of the clans that had worked with the Duan clan had withdrawn. It wouldn't be long before the Duan clan suffered another heavy blow. Lin Xian knew that the Duan clan would be able to take it during this period. He handed over the matters here to the ninth elder and the rest, while he returned to the Immortal Martial Academy. Firstly, he wanted to give Xin Jingqiu more than one illusory array to get rid of her inner demons. Secondly, he wanted to forge the Red Lotus armor. In the remote sky secret realm, he had obtained many natural treasures. Other than precious spiritual herbs, he had also obtained many materials for forging weapons. Now he had enough materials to forge an armor. Therefore he wanted to forge it. This way, even if the Duan clan retaliated, he would have the ability to protect himself. 3 days later, Lin Xian brought Xin Jingqiu back to the Immortal Martial Academy. He didn't return to the freshman area. Instead, he asked Dean Xian to find a safe and secluded place for him. Soon he found a mountain peak. It was located in the core area of the academy and was very safe. Moreover, the spiritual energy was abundant, and the environment was friendly. It was very suitable for cultivation. After settling down, Lin Xian started to set up the formation. His attainments and formations were terrifying. Even the formation masters of the King clans might not be able to compare to him. Therefore, setting up an illusory array was nothing to him. However, in order to achieve the best effect, Lin Xian spent 120% of his effort in a day to set up an illusory array. It's up to you now. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Xin Jingqiu nodded heavily. Don't worry, brother Lin Xian. I can do it. The little girl was also very serious. She knew that this was very important to her. After taking a deep breath, Xin Jingqiu quickly walked into the illusory array. Originally, Lin Xian wanted to stay here for 2 days to check on Xin Jingqiu's condition. If there was no danger, he would forge the Red Lotus armor. However, the situation changed after a day because the dark red dragon flew out of the demonic beast bag. Kid, I'm awake. Lin Xian, on the other hand, had a look of surprise on his face. Could it be that your recovery failed? How could I possibly fail? Am I that weak? That's not right. If you succeed, shouldn't you be shouting in the sky? Why are you so honest now? You didn't even celebrate your breakthrough? Bah! Am I so shallow that I have to make a fuss just because I've recovered my strength? The dark red dragon god blushed, but fortunately, his entire body was red, so there was no awkwardness at all. Kid, you've followed me for so long, but you don't understand me at all. You've only recovered to the 9th heavenly layer, what's there to be happy about? Although it was humble and said that it was unhappy, its tail was already wagging. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. Alright, we'll celebrate when you return to the challenger level. I have a task for you. Help me look after the illusion array. Where are you going? The dark red dragon god asked. Then he glanced at the array in front of him and exclaimed, this array is engraved well. Kid, you've improved. Lin Xian was a little proud of himself. Then he said, I'm going to refine the Red Lotus armor. The person inside is my friend. Look after her. Don't let anything happen to her. After giving his instructions, Lin Xian left. The dark red dragon god looked inside and saw a hazy figure. It's a little beauty. This kid is good. He's quite fast. He actually found another beauty. How shameful, how depraved. The dark red dragon god muttered. Then he brought out the little white monkey. The two of them hugged spiritual fruits and spiritual wine together and ate heartily. On the other side, Lin Xian was in seclusion to refine the Red Lotus armor. With a wave of his hand, the thousand-beast cauldron appeared. At the same time, countless materials floated in the air. These materials were very precious. Each of them could make the experts of the Jianghu continent go crazy. Many of them were even materials to refine earth-rank treasures. Fortunately, Lin Shen had the blueprint. Moreover, his soul power was strong. That was why he could inscribe the inscriptions on the blueprint bit by bit. Otherwise, he would not be able to refine the armor. While Lin Shen was refining the armor, the outside world was not peaceful. Under the huge temptation of the longevity pill, someone finally made a move. The star mineral vein. There was a huge mineral vein here. Inside it was the precious metal star steel. This mineral vein was the property of the Duan family. The star pills dug out here could be used to make weapons and armor. It could be said that it was very important. Moreover, it was a special situation. Therefore, the defense here was even tighter than before. Not only that, there was a core elder of the Duan family overseeing it. This elder was a 9th Heaven Honorable Realm expert. He was not an early 9th Heaven Honorable Realm expert. Instead, he was a 9th Heaven Honorable Realm expert. His strength was equivalent to the 9th Elder. With such a powerful person overseeing it, the Duan family was very assured. The night was slightly cold. The entire mineral vein did not stop working. Sonorous knocking sounds could be heard. Some key places were even heavily guarded by patrolling guards. However, in the dark night, a few figures floated over quickly like ghosts. These 5 people were very fast and did not reveal any auras. Therefore, even though the patrolling guards were very vigilant, they did not notice them. These 5 people were of all shapes and sizes. One of them was a fatty. When he passed by a group of guards, he sneered and a ball of dark green mist surged out of his palm. Next, the green mist waved and instantly enveloped a group of 10 people. Whoa! Immediately, those cultivators did not even have time to scream before their bodies turned into a pool of pus. The 5 of them did not stop. Wherever they passed, the groups they encountered all disappeared silently. Soon they arrived in front of a palace. The 5 of them looked at each other, took out their knives, forks and sticks and quickly rushed forward. Boom! The auras of the 5 people erupted. It was very terrifying. They joined together and cooperated with the terrifying attacks. They quickly blasted forward. Immediately, the majestic palace collapsed with a bang. Huge rocks flew everywhere and the ground sank. Everything within a radius of 10 miles collapsed. Some of the nearby cultivators did not have time to escape at all and turned into a bloody mist in the attack. In an instant, the entire mine sounded an alarm. Countless cultivators and guards gathered here. In the ruins in front of them, there was also an angry shout. "You're courting death." This voice was like thunder. It exploded with a bang, forming a violent air blade that blew away all the surrounding ruins. An old figure stood on the ground. The old man was dressed in a dark green robe that was incomparably resplendent. However, at this moment his face was abnormally cold. A terrifying gaze burst out from his ancient eyes. It was like a fiend god's spear that pierced through the void. "How dare you cause trouble in the Duan family's mine? You're courting death." Chapter 1290. In the distance, there were countless martial artists rushing over in a frenzy, surrounding the area so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The 5 black-clothed men sneered and one of them, a tall man, shouted coldly and attacked. Immediately, the 5 of them attacked the core elder in front of them. The great battle erupted and it was abnormally intense. The core elder of the Duan family was full of confidence. But very soon he let out a cry of surprise. "You guys are actually all 9th level supremacies." He was simply too shocked to think that the 5 people who killed him were actually all 9th level supremacies. Although they were only at the initial 9th level, their strength was still very terrifying. Under normal circumstances, a mid-stage 9th level martial artist could contend against 3 initial stage supremacies, at most 4. If there were 5, they could not contend at all and could only retreat. Now the Duan family's elder was facing such a situation. "Old man, today is the day you die." The 5 of them roared, erupting with energy that could tear heaven and earth. After a great battle, the Duan family's core elder fought with all his strength, but he still could not escape and finally lost his life here. Seeing the strongest core elder being killed, the surrounding martial artists were all scared out of their wits and fled one after another. Similar things were happening in many places of the Duan family. Of course, some succeeded and some failed. But no matter what, the Duan family suffered heavy losses, and even a few core elders were killed. For a time, it set off a huge uproar in the entire Jianghu continent. The Duan family was incomparably furious and fought back with all their might, but there were too many assassins and they were very scattered, so the effect they achieved was minimal. In the end, the Duan family had no choice but to recall all the important elders and martial artists. However, they did not sit still and wait for death, but quickly sought an alliance, preparing to counterattack again. For a time there were also many forces that joined. In a blink of an eye, a month passed, and the situation in Jianghu continent became more and more tense, while Lin Xian's side was rather quiet. With the help of the illusory array, Xin Jingqiu finally overcame her heart demon, and awakened the power of bloodline again. And on Lin Xian's side, he also successfully refined an armor. That armor was bright red all over, emitting light, and engraved on it was very complicated and profound. Lin Xian tested it out and found that this armor alone could block 70% of the attacks. In other words, if a ninth heaven venerate attacked him, the armor would be able to block 70% of the attack. As for the remaining 30%, he could rely on his powerful body and defense to block it. It had to be said that this was a good way to save one's life. After coming out of seclusion, Lin Xian called Yu Fei over and asked about the situation outside. After learning about Chang Kuang of the Duan clan, he nodded in satisfaction. Not bad. In a month's time, a few core elders of the Duan clan were killed. However, these people were killed by different forces. Therefore, no one had been able to gather the heads of 3 core elders, and no one had been able to exchange them for the longevity pill. However, Lin Xian was in no hurry. It had only been a month. As time passed, someone would definitely succeed in a sneak attack. Where's the 9th elder? Lin Xian asked. 9th elder returned to War God Palace. I heard that he had something important to do. Yu Fei said. Return to the Palace of Ares? Forget it. Let me know when he comes back. Also, continue to monitor the Duan clan's actions. If there's anything unusual, report to me immediately. After arranging the following matters, Lin Xian accompanied Xin Jingqiu to cultivate in the Immortal Martial Academy. Xin Jingqiu had recovered her bloodline power, and her cultivation had also increased rapidly. Now she had already reached the 4th heaven venerate realm. Lin Xian felt that the outside world was too chaotic, so he decided to let Xin Jingqiu cultivate in the Immortal Martial Academy. Anyway, it was very safe here and the outside world couldn't attack. Moreover, there were many people of the same age here and they could interact with each other. Xin Jingqiu happily agreed to this suggestion. In the next few days, Lin Xian continued to cultivate. Of course, the most important thing was still to cultivate Firmament 9 and Void Shattering Finger. Now he could already form 2 Void Shattering Finger, and he could use 3 types of seals with Firmament Transformation. Not only that, but his cultivation had also been increasing. Now he was about to reach the peak of the Venerable Realm. Lin Xian's side was going smoothly, but the Duan clan didn't have it easy. They were completely targeted and now they didn't even dare to leave their house. Facing this situation, the Duan clan's patriarch and martial venerable could still keep calm and cultivate silently. However, young Master Ling Feng couldn't tolerate it at all. He was young and arrogant and didn't put anyone in his eyes. But now, he was suppressed by a 7th heaven venerate realm brat to the point that he couldn't leave his house. This was a great humiliation to him. Therefore he decided to retaliate fiercely. Where is that brat now? Young Master Ling Feng asked. Young Master, that brat is now in the Immortal Martial Academy. We can't enter at all. Damn that brat, he hid very well. But does he think he's safe now? Young Master Ling Feng's expression was cold. How many people can we mobilize? Our Duan clan's people are completely targeted, especially those core elders. I'm afraid that they will be assassinated the moment they leave. Moreover, Lin Xian's side is definitely watching us, so we can't mobilize the forces of our Duan clan. The subordinate said. In that case, only the subordinate clans and Skynet are left. Inform the assassins of the 8 great clans and Skynet to gather. Tell them that there's a mission for them. Young Master Ling Feng said in a deep voice. Yes. The subordinate's expression turned cold. Young Master Ling Feng said in a deep voice, since that brat is hiding in Jianghu Academy, we'll lure him out. Young Master, you mean? It's simple. Arrange 3 fake assassinations and spread the news that 3 of our core elders have been killed. After that, arrange for our men to bring the fake heads to exchange for longevity pills. Young Master, could it be that you want the longevity pills? But the other party will definitely check it. I don't want the longevity pills. Can't you think of a way to lure that brat out and check the goods somewhere else? When he falls into our trap, his life and death will be up to me. Young Master is wise. If that brat really falls into our trap, he's definitely dead. Remember, send more 9th Heaven Venerate Realm experts. The 8th Heaven Venerate Realm experts must be the elites. It's best if they can use combination formations. This time we must succeed. Yes. The subordinate replied and left quickly. Seeing his subordinate leave, a cruel smile appeared on young Master Ling Feng's face. No one can make me suffer. Lin Xian, you're the first. However, you'll have to pay a painful price for it. Following which, young Master Ling Feng's plan began to unfold. Soon, the news of the assassination of the core elders of the Duan clan spread. There were even many cultivators who witnessed it. Chapter 1291. Following that, young Master Ling Feng's plan quickly unfolded. Soon, the news of the Duan clan's core elder being assassinated spread. Many cultivators even saw it with their own eyes. For a time, all sorts of rumors spread. Not long after, another 2 core elders of the Shin clan were killed. Following that was the third. What? Another 3 core elders were killed? Is the Duan clan crazy? Why did they let their core elders come out? Many people were shocked and many others were suspicious. This is normal. Many of the Duan clan's businesses have been severely affected. Their resources have probably decreased by a lot. If they continue to hide, their resources will probably be cut off. That's why those people took the risk to come out. That makes sense. However, the other party is too powerful. They actually managed to kill the Duan clan's core elders. I wonder if they are from the same faction? That's right. If they are from the same faction, then they can exchange for longevity pills. Immediately, everyone became excited. Countless people continued to keep an eye on the Shin clan. Even more people went to Elite Hall to check if there were any longevity pills being exchanged. At this moment, an ordinary-looking gray-clothed man walked into Elite Hall. That gray-clothed, middle-aged man kept a low profile. Furthermore, he looked ordinary. He also suppressed his aura very low. Hence, no one noticed him in the crowd. Elite Hall's manager did not notice him either. However, after the other party said something, they took him seriously. This is not the place to talk. Follow me to the back. Soon, the gray-clothed, middle-aged man was brought to a living room at the back. Is what you said true? The Elite Hall's manager asked. Of course. How can I lie about something like this? The gray-clothed man said. The Elite Hall's manager said, even so, we still have to inspect the goods in advance. I'm just a messenger. The goods are not with me. Of course you can inspect the goods, but you can't do it here. The gray-clothed man said, after all, killing the Duan clan's core elders is a big deal. Furthermore, it's 3 of them. If this news spreads, the Duan clan will definitely fight to the death with us. At that time, we might get killed before we even step out of this door. Hearing that, the Elite Hall's manager frowned. What do you want? We can deliver the goods, but we have to go somewhere else. Where? Nanshan City. The Elite Hall executive officer thought for a moment before saying, I cannot make the decision on this matter. I can only send this news up. As for the outcome, I do not know. It's fine. I can wait here. 3 days. I hope I can get the information I want in 3 days. The gray-robed middle-aged man's expression was calm. Sure. Class 1 Hall will arrange a place for you. After that, the deacon pushed open the door and ordered someone to prepare the room while he quickly reported the matter. Soon Lin Xian received the news. Lin Xian frowned. Are you saying that someone killed 3 of the Duan family's core elders and went there to exchange for longevity pills? However, they weren't willing to do the exchange at Class 1 Hall and wanted to go somewhere else? The other party did say that. Older brother Xian, I feel that there's something fishy about this matter. Should we reject the other party? Yu Fei asked. Where did they choose to trade? Nanshan City. Have you explored that place? I have, but I didn't find anything unusual. Furthermore, Nanshan City isn't a force under the Duan family, and it's not too far away from Windy City. Then what kind of strength did the other party have? Did you find out? No, we didn't reveal any signs and we couldn't find out either. Yu Fei said. Older brother Xian, I didn't do my job well. It's fine. Lin Xian thought for a moment, then asked, what do you think? The other party is too strange. I'm worried that this is a trap. Furthermore, the 9th and 10th elders aren't here. We don't have any reliable experts. After all, the longevity pill is too tempting. If we use experts from other forces, something might happen. Yu Fei spoke of his worries. Indeed, the longevity pill was a heaven-defying divine medicine. Whether it was consumed or sold, it would be sold at a sky-high price. Therefore, only very reliable people could use it to exchange. Looks like I can only go myself. Lin Xian sighed. No. Older brother Xian, it's too dangerous. If it's a trap of the Duan family, the consequences will be very serious. Yu Fei quickly dissuaded. Actually, I also think it's a trap, but I still want to take a look. Lin Xian smiled. I've just refined something good recently. It's a good time to try it out. And don't worry, even if the other party has a half-step king, I'm confident that I can safely retreat. Really? Yu Fei was shocked. Could he escape unscathed in the face of a half-step king? Lin Xian smiled mysteriously. Tell that person that I will go. Yes. Seeing Lin Xian's confident smile, Yu Fei didn't try to dissuade him. After he left, Lin Xian also stopped smiling, and his expression became serious. Duan family, let me see what kind of tricks you can come up with. The dark red dragon said, Kid, don't worry. With me here you can definitely leave safely. The profound jade platform I refine this time can teleport you 200 miles. As long as it's not a king, there won't be any problems. That's good. Lin Xian was full of confidence. Next, Lin Xian made some preparations and set off. This time he didn't bring anyone but the dark red dragon and the snow-white monkey. He wasn't worried. Firstly, he had just refined the red lotus battle armor, which could block 70% of the damage, greatly increasing his safety. Secondly, he had also made breakthroughs in his 2 Earth-class cultivation techniques, greatly increasing his strength. Moreover, he had the dark red dragon as a helper. If he really couldn't win, he still had the dark red dragon's profound jade platform, which could directly teleport him away. Could be said that it was very safe. Therefore he dared to go alone. In the elite hall, the gray-clothed middle-aged man also revealed a smile when he heard the news. However, his smile was somewhat sinister. He knew that the fish had taken the bait, and the next step was to reel in the net. The gray-clothed man waited patiently in the elite hall. 3 days later Lin Xian arrived. Greetings, young Master Lin Xian. The gray-clothed man slightly bowed to Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded. I don't have much time. Let's hurry. All right, young Master Lin, follow me. The gray-clothed man didn't delay and quickly soared into the sky. Lin Xian's figure flashed and followed behind. They didn't speak along the way. After about 4 hours, the gray-clothed man in front suddenly said, Young Master Lin, Nanshan City is in front. After saying that, he lowered his body and landed in a city below. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and glanced below. The corner of his mouth curled up and then he followed. Swoosh swoosh. The two of them landed on the street. When they arrived in the city, the gray-clothed man's footsteps were obviously much faster. Soon he arrived in front of a mansion. The red door was 3 meters wide and 5 meters tall. It was very majestic. There were 2 lifelike statues of strange beasts in front of the door. Young Master Lin, this is the place. Please come in, the gray-clothed man said. And Lin Xian nodded without any expression on his face. Seeing that, the gray-clothed man didn't say anything and quickly led the way. When the two of them entered the mansion, the gray-clothed man in front was completely relieved. It's settled. As long as they come in, they won't be able to escape. They had set up several formations in this mansion. Some were for defense, some were for sealing, and some were for concealing auras. Chapter 1292. Soon, the gray-robed man brought Lin Xian into a living room. Lin Xian's expression was calm as he sat down in an imposing manner. Soon, a beautiful maidservant brought over some spirit tea. The gray-robed man left after bringing Lin Xian in. At this moment, only Lin Xian and the 2 maids were left in the living room. The 2 maids were making tea very seriously. Young Master Lin, please wait a moment. My master will be here soon. The 2 beautiful maids poured the spirit tea and stood respectfully at the side. Lin Xian nodded. Then he leaned back in his chair and narrowed his eyes. To outsiders, he seemed to be resting with his eyes closed, but in fact he was communicating with the dark red divine dragon. How is it? What did you find out? Lin Xian asked. There are at least 3 types of spirit arrays here. Moreover, these people look ordinary, but they have all concealed their strength. This is indeed not a good place. The dark red divine dragon said. It is indeed a trap. Along the way, I have also sensed many powerful auras hidden in this villa. Even the surrounding security is very tight. I am afraid it will not be easy to enter and leave. Lin Xian snorted coldly, but he did not care. He wanted to see what these people could do. Not long after he communicated with the dark red divine dragon, the door opened. Then 2 figures walked in. The person in front was an old man. His hair was gray, but his vitality was abnormally strong. He was like a furnace. He walked with a majestic gait. His movements were dignified. From the aura he emitted, Lin Xian could confirm that he was a ninth heaven supremacy. Behind him, there was a handsome young man who also had the aura of a peak eighth heaven supremacy. Behind them there were 8 black-robed men. They had cold expressions and carried swords on their backs. The 8 black-robed martial artists followed into the living room and stood at the side. If one paid attention, they would realize that these people had sealed all the doors and windows of the room. It seemed that they were planning to trap Lin Xian in this room. The tall and dignified old man sat down. Then he stared at Lin Xian and smiled. There is no choice. The situation is serious. I had to ask young Master Lin to come here personally. Young Master Lin, did you bring the longevity pill? I've been carrying the longevity pills with me. Where are your heads? Lin Xian asked calmly. Seeing Lin Xian's confident and calm appearance, the tall and mighty elder's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. Disregarding everything else, just this steady aura alone surpassed the vast majority of young martial artists. If such a person was allowed to continue growing, he would definitely become a great enemy of the Duan clan. Therefore he had to get rid of him today. Behind the old man, the handsome young man also revealed a cold smile. In his opinion, Lin Xian was not confident. Instead he was arrogant and had a death wish. How foolish of him to dare to come to their place alone. My surname is Du and my name is Kong. This is my grandson Du Tianxing. Humph. Hearing this, Du Tianxing snorted arrogantly. To be honest, in Du Tianxing's heart, Lin Xian was far inferior to him. In terms of talent and strength, Lin Xian was no match for him. It was just that Lin Xian was lucky enough to become the young master of the Palace of Ares. If this identity was given to him, he would definitely be able to do 10 times, no, 100 times better than Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian frowned slightly and said impatiently, I'm not interested in knowing your name. You just need to hand over the 3 heads of the Duan clan's core elders. As for other things, I'm not interested in knowing. Hearing this, Du Kong's face darkened and he looked at Lin Xian coldly. Suddenly, the air in the room froze like a mountain, making it difficult for everyone to breathe. Du Tianxing also shouted angrily, Lin, what's with your attitude? How dare you speak to my grandfather like that? Hurry up and apologize. Lin Xian sneered, who do you think you are? I'm talking to your grandfather. Who are you to speak here? Slap him. Lin Xian's meaning was clear. He was from the same generation as Du Kong, and Du Tianxing was from the same generation as his grandson. Du Tianxing naturally understood what he meant. He was instantly enraged and even wanted to pull out the long sword at his waist. Tianxing, back off. Du Kong said in a low voice, don't scare young Master Lin. Scare me? You're thinking too much. How can this kind of situation scare me? Lin Xian sneered disdainfully, alright, you've been pretending for so long. Even if you're not tired, I'm tired. Show me what you have. My time is precious. Hearing Lin Xian's impatient words, Du Kong frowned. What am I pretending for? You can tell? He suddenly had a bad feeling because Lin Xian was too confident. Could it be that Lin Xian had seen through his trick? But so what? Lin Xian had already come in. There was no way he could escape. Alright, stop wasting time. If you continue wasting time, I'm afraid Ling Feng can't wait any longer. Lin Xian sneered. Looks like you already know. Du Kong's face was completely dark and his eyes were filled with murderous intent. But I'm curious. Since you already know, you still dare to come. You're really courting death. I'm curious because I want to see what kind of tricks you have up your sleeves. But now it seems like it's really nothing. Lin Xian shrugged, and his face was filled with indifference. Since you already know, then I'll cut to the chase. Men, kill him. As soon as Du Kong's voice fell, 2 black-clothed martial artists in the room quickly walked in. With a clang, they unsheathed their swords and charged at Lin Xian. Dazzling saber lights flashed in the air, and with a sharp aura, they slashed at Lin Xian from both sides. It seemed like they wanted to cut off his arms and legs. Clang. The sound of metal colliding rang out. The 2 dazzling saber lights in the air seemed to have collided with a giant mountain, and quickly broke in half. What? He blocked it. Behind him, the 2 black-clothed martial artists' faces changed drastically, and Du Kong's face also darkened. Lin Xian also stopped smiling and it was replaced by a cold look. His gaze was like lightning, and a dazzling sword light soared from his body, as if it was tearing the world apart. The sword chi contained a sharp murderous aura, and it was extremely terrifying, like thousands of beasts galloping. With a wave of his hand, Two-sword chi flew out and quickly slashed behind him, instantly cutting the two black-clothed martial artists in half. Instantly, a bloody mist sprayed out, and the pungent smell of blood filled the air. "Go kill him for me," Du Kong roared. He had a bad feeling in his heart, so he did not attack. Instead, he quickly retreated with Du Tianqing. Soon, the other 6 black-clothed martial artists in the room attacked, and a powerful aura erupted from their bodies. They were all 8th Heaven Honorables. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a strong murderous aura emanated from his body. Countless lightning bolts rushed out and surrounded his body. Then Lin Xian punched out. Boom! Thunder exploded, and it rushed forward together with the fist. The power was too strong, as if the thunder god had descended. Poof! 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 The 3 black-clothed martial artists who were charging forward bore the brunt of the attack. They were struck by the violent lightning bolts, and they immediately screamed in agony. Their body defenses and armors shattered instantly, as they could not withstand the powerful power of the lightning bolts. Boom. Chapter 1293. The 3 black-robed men were the first to bear the brunt of the attack. They screamed in agony as they were struck by the violent lightning. Their body defenses and armors instantly shattered, unable to withstand the powerful lightning energy. Boom. Then the 3 of them exploded as well. The blood mist in the air had yet to dissipate, but Lin Xian's figure was still nowhere to be seen. Lin Xian appeared in front of the other 2 black-robed martial artists in a flash. His 5 fingers formed a claw as he grabbed their heads and smashed them in the middle. Boom. Like a watermelon being split open, blood splattered everywhere. In an instant, the black-robed man was dead. There was only one person left. However, at this moment, the 2 maidservants who were brewing tea earlier also shouted. They quickly took out 2 thin swords from their storage rings and stabbed at Lin Xian. The 2 swords were at a tricky angle, aiming directly at Lin Xian's vital points. Moreover, they were very fast. They even passed by the black-robed men from before. Who would have thought that these 2 frail girls were actually terrifying assassins? 2 cold lights flashed in the air, instantly slicing through the air. Lin Xian snorted coldly as countless white lightning surged out of his fist. The white lightning was very strange. It carried a cold and violent aura. It quickly formed a demonic beast in the air and pounced forward. In an instant, it enveloped the 2 maidservants. In the next moment, the power of lightning was released. It pierced through their bodies. Plop, plop. 2 charred bodies fell to the ground, emitting the smell of barbecued meat. When the last black-robed martial artist saw this, his expression changed drastically. He quickly fled outside. However, Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he instantly appeared beside him. With a kick, he split the man in half. In an instant, 8 black-robed martial artists and 2 assassins were killed. Blood flowed all over the ground. The pungent smell of blood was disgusting. Du Tianqing's eyelids twitched when he saw this scene. His body began to tremble. Just like him, as a peak 8th Heaven martial artist, he usually did not put anyone in his eyes, but the scene in front of him had deeply stimulated him. Those were 8 8th Heaven supremacies. They were killed in an instant. This was something that he did not dare to imagine. Originally, he was very arrogant and thought that Lin Xian was inferior to him. However, it seemed that he was very wrong. Du Kong's expression was also very gloomy. Judging from Lin Xian's methods, his strength was definitely not inferior to a 9th Heaven supremacy. It seemed that the rumors were true. I admit that you exceeded my expectations. But so what? We have set a trap today. No matter how strong you are, you will not be able to escape. Where is the enforcement elder? Du Kong shouted coldly. Suddenly, the void fluctuated and 5 cold figures walked out. The auras of these 5 people were extremely powerful, far surpassing that of the black-robed cultivator from before. Their bodies exuded a violent aura, and their auras showed that they were 5 9th level supremacies. The 5 9th Heaven Venerables stood in the void like demon kings, firmly locking onto Lin Xian. To the sky, to the sky, to the ground, to be killed 9th Heaven to be. And the sky to sky. To the sky, to the sky. The sky, to the ground. Assassins. In the sky, on the ground, in all directions, formations were activated. Dazzling inscriptions flickered, and the entire villa became a cage. Kill him. Do not leave him alive. Du Kong shouted coldly. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Countless hidden weapons flashed with a cold light. They flew out of the sky and quickly pierced towards Lin Xian. These hidden weapons were poisonous. If a martial artist below the 9th Heaven supremacy was hit, he would die from the poison. Lin Xian sneered. He opened his fingers and stretched them forward. Then, countless lightning surged out from his fingertips. They formed a ball of lightning and surrounded him. Immediately, the hidden weapons that filled the sky all crashed into the lightning screen and started to spin inside it. He blocked all of them? The surrounding martial artists were shocked. They could not believe it. The darts that they had shot out were very terrifying. Even a ninth heaven supremacy would not be able to block them easily. However, the other party was able to easily block it. One had to admit that this was simply too unbelievable. However, this was not the end. The darts were all suspended in the air. Then, under Lin Xian's control, they flew in all directions at an even more violent speed. Pupiyo. In the next moment, the martial artists hidden in the darkness all screamed. They had all been hit by the darts and were poisoned. Just when everyone wanted to escape, those darts suddenly smashed open, and those injured martial artists were blown into pieces, their flesh and blood splattering everywhere. It turned out that these darts had been injected with the power of lightning and were very powerful. Now that they exploded under Lin Xian's control, their power was terrifying. In an instant, dozens of martial artists died. You're courting death. Die, brat. The 5 Ninth Heaven Exalts were enraged when they saw this scene, and they quickly charged towards Lin Xian. These 5 people were too violent. Even a mid-ninth heaven supremacy could not resist them when they joined forces, let alone Lin Xian. Thus, everyone thought that Lin Xian was really going to die this time. Ruffian dragon, it's up to you, Lin Xian said solemnly. Don't worry, it's just a few ninth heaven supremacies. I don't care about them. Anyway, I haven't exercised in a long time. I can play with them. The dark red dragon laughed strangely. Then he flew out like a bolt of red lightning. Where did this snake come from? You dare to seek death? One of the ninth heaven supremacies laughed coldly and threw a punch at the dark red dragon. Crack crack. The sound of bones cracking rang out. In the next moment, that ninth heaven supremacy screamed. This was because his fist collided with the dark red dragon. However, he did not shatter it. Instead, it was like he had collided with a mountain. That terrifying rebounding force caused his entire palm to shatter. Foolish and ignorant human, you want to contend against this emperor with just this little bit of strength? You're really asking for death. The dark red dragon was like an old monster. He laughed strangely. Then, his body expanded and he became a dragon that was dozens of feet long. He quickly trapped 3 of the ninth heaven supremacies. The remaining 2 quickly charged toward Lin Xian. Die, brat. Those 2 ninth heaven supremacies attacked with ferocious roars. Although their 3 companions were blocked, the 2 of them were enough. This was because the 2 of them could fight against a mid-stage ninth heaven supremacy. Killing a 7th heaven supremacy was a piece of cake. Boom boom. 2 balls of energy surged out and instantly enveloped Lin Xian. Then they quickly exploded. The void trembled and a terrifying black hole was torn open. Countless waves of air surged and the scene was very shocking. Meanwhile, the place where Lin Xian was at was drowned by the turbulence. Haha, die. In the distance, Du Tianxing saw this scene and immediately laughed loudly. At the side, Du Kong also heaved a sigh of relief. Whoosh whoosh. However, suddenly, countless sword chi flew out of the energy vortex and swept out in all directions, instantly slicing the turbulence in the sky. Then Lin Xian's black hair fluttered, and he walked out like a god of war. What? He's fine. Everyone was stunned. Chapter 1294. Countless streaks of sword chi flew out from the energy whirlpool and sliced through the air. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind as he walked out like a god of war. What? He's fine. Everyone was stunned. Impossible, this is impossible. Du Tianxing screamed. Du Tianxing was indeed stunned. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. That was the combined attack of 2 ninth heaven venerables. Its power was definitely terrifying and unimaginable, but Lin Xian seemed to be fine. It was as if the attack just now hadn't hit him at all. How could this be? How could he be unharmed? Even the 2 ninth heaven venerables were stunned. They couldn't understand what was going on at all. Meanwhile, Lin Xian's eyes lit up, and his lips curled up slightly. He was very happy because the red lotus armor that he had refined had played a role and blocked 70% of the attack. That was why he was unharmed. As expected of the red lotus armor, it was indeed powerful. Lin Xian was very excited. He was looking forward to how strong his defense would be if he refined the entire red lotus armor. Since the 2 of you have finished attacking, it's my turn now. Lin Xian released a powerful aura. Then he quickly formed seals with his hands. You're asking for death. The 2 ninth heaven venerables were furious. Although they didn't know how Lin Xian had dodged their attacks, they couldn't tolerate a Seventh Heaven Venerables attacking them. Bloodthirsty Ghost Claw. Blood-sucking Blade. The two of them roared and used their ultimate techniques. A ghost claw that was 500 to 600 meters long slashed toward Lin Xian. Just the aftershock alone was enough to cause the entire void to crack open, let alone the terrifying consequences of being hit by it head-on. On the other side, a blood-colored blade shot into the sky as if it was going to cut the entire sky open. This was the furious attack of two Ninth Heaven Venerables. Its power was extremely terrifying. Faced with this shocking attack, Lin Xian's expression was cold. He quickly formed seals with his hands. Then Qiongqi's huge body formed in the sky. As soon as it formed, it charged forward with a ferocious roar. A sound wave rushed out, forming a boundless killing intent. It rushed forward violently, resisting the blood-red ghost claw and shocking long blade. Rumble. The two collided and the sky collapsed. Sky rock transformation. At the next moment, Lin Xian formed another seal. Another golden celestial peng appeared in the void, looking extremely awe-inspiring. The heavenly peng let out a long cry and swooped down, merging with Lin Xian's fist. Kill. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind. Like a god of death he charged forward. Clang. In the blink of an eye he arrived in front of the two of them. The golden heavenly peng's fist whistled as it smashed out. Ghost claws flashed in the sky, but they couldn't block it at all. Bei was instantly blasted apart. Crack crack. On top of that, ghost-clawed Venerable One's palm was also hit, causing cracking sounds to be heard. Damn it, how is this possible? He was terrified, not daring to believe this. That was because not only did his opponent blast away his ghost claw, he even shattered his fist. Retreat, this young fella's too strange. Ghost-clawed Venerable One dared not fight head-on, so it wanted to distance itself from Ouyang Ming. You want to leave? Stay. On the other hand, Lin Xian sneered. His fingers formed claws like the sharp claws of a heavenly peng, and he grabbed ghost-clawed Venerable One's arm in a split second. Crack. With a forceful pull, ghost-clawed Venerable One's right arm was directly torn off. White bones were exposed and blood spurted out. The scene was shocking. Ghost-clawed Venerable One screamed in pain, and its face was hideous. Blood Saber the Venerable One's face changed. He did not expect his opponent to injure ghost-clawed Venerable One in an instant. What shocked him even more was yet to come. Ghost-clawed Venerable One's right arm that was torn off quickly burned in Lin Xian's hand. In the end, not even ashes were left. On top of that, numerous black flames danced on Ouyang Ming's left hand, forming a black flame longsword. Sword light flickered as Black Sword Chi soared into the sky and slashed toward Blood Saber the Venerable One. Get lost. Blood Saber the Venerable One was furious. He slashed 32 saber lights with his wild blood saber in a row. The demonic saber lights quickly crisscrossed in the air like a long red river, emitting monstrous killing intents. When the fearsome red saber lights came into contact with Lin Xian's Black Sword Chi, they quickly evaporated and formed numerous red mists. In the end, the 32 saber lights evaporated completely without leaving a trace behind. This is impossible. Blood Saber the Venerable One's face changed. When he saw the Black Sword Chi that was slashing toward him, he quickly dodged. Even so, he could not avoid it at all. The sword chi formed by the black flames flickered in the air, then it split into 2, then 4, then 8. In the end, 64 black sword chis intertwined to form a sword net, which directly surrounded Blood Saber the Venerable One. TSS. Blood Saber the Venerable One could not dodge, so he could only take it head-on. He quickly formed 13 layers of defense and pushed the armor on his body with all his might, preparing to resist with all his might. Nonetheless, when the black sword light landed, the 13 layers of defense in front of him melted like snow and did not stop at all. What flame is this? How can it be so fearsome? Blood Saber the Venerable One's eyes were filled with despair. He could only pin his hopes on the armor on his body because it was a half-Earth grade treasure tool, and it had saved him many times. He hoped that this time, it could also block the fearsome flame sword chi. The half-Earth grade treasure tool was indeed fearsome, and it resisted the sword net in the sky. Blood Saber the Venerable One heaved a sigh of relief, but in the next moment, he screamed in pain. This was because the horrifying high temperature directly passed through the half-Earth grade treasure and burned his body. Crackle. Crackle. The black flames burned like the fire of hell, emitting a gloomy light. Soon, Blood Saber the Venerable One was burned into ashes, leaving only his half-Earth grade armor. Looking at the armor that was burned full of holes, everyone's scalps went numb. What kind of flame was it? How could it be so fearsome that even a ninth heaven venerable one could not resist it? On the other side, Ghost Claude the Venerable One was completely dumbfounded. As compared to Blood Saber the Venerable One, he only lost an arm. He dared not attack again, so he turned and fled. On the other hand, Lin Xian scoffed coldly. He pulled out his Lone Star Sword and performed the Star Sword technique. Countless sword cheese gathered in the sky at once, forming stars that quickly fell. One of them directly enveloped Ghost Claude the Venerable One and smashed his body into the ground, forming a bottomless abyss. In an instant, 2 ninth heaven venerables were killed. Everyone was stunned by this scene. Grandpa. In the distance, Du Tianxing's body trembled and he stuttered, "Why don't we run?" Du Kong also took a deep breath. To be honest, he was also frightened. Although he was a ninth heaven venerable one, he could not kill 2 ninth heaven venerables so easily. Moreover, looking at Lin Xian, it seemed that he had not used his full strength. Tianxing, retreat first and spread the news. Ask young Master Ling Feng to send more people, Du Kong said in a deep voice. Okay. Du Tianxing was already scared out of his wits. When he heard this, he immediately rushed into the sky. But soon he came back crying. Chapter 1295. It's sealed? How is that possible? This villa has a total of 3 layers of formations. Did you not activate all of them? Du Kong asked with a frown. No, grandfather. I've already activated all of them, but there's an unfamiliar formation outside. It's not ours at all. Moreover, that formation is very mysterious. I can't open it at all. There's another formation? Du Kong's expression changed drastically. Could it be that kid who set it up? Thinking of this, he soared into the sky, wanting to give it a try. Sure enough, after the 3rd layer of formations, he encountered the 4th layer of formations. Du Kong's eyes shone brightly as he roared furiously. His fist was like a divine thunder hammer as it rapidly bombarded the top. Boom. An earth-shattering sound rang out and the entire villa shook. However, the 4th formation flickered with light and no cracks appeared. Du Kong didn't believe it. His body moved like lightning as he quickly searched in all directions. In the end, he discovered that the entire villa was completely sealed and there was no way out at all. Not to mention Du Tianxing, even he couldn't break it open. Damn it. How is this possible? Actually, he didn't know that this formation was set up by the dark red divine dragon. With their strength and cultivation, they couldn't break it at all. In other words, this villa had indeed become a heaven and earth cage. However, it wasn't Lin Xian that was trapped, but Du Kong and the others. Thinking of this, a hint of madness appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Everyone, attack with all your strength. You must kill him. Du Kong quickly ordered. At the same time, he took out 3 spirit talismans from his storage ring and quickly burned them. These were 3 voice transmission spirit talismans that could summon 3 middle stage 9th heaven supremacies nearby. Those 3 were stronger than him, and he had left them nearby as a precaution. He didn't expect that they would really come in handy now. In the villa, all the cultivators knew that their way out was sealed. They could only leave if they killed the young man in front of them. Therefore, for a moment, everyone became crazy. Kill him. All the cultivators attacked crazily. Hidden weapons, sword light, saber light, and palm shadows all rushed toward Lin Xian. Among them, 3 figures were very powerful. They were actually 9th heaven supremacies. With the 5 from before and the 3 now, there was a total of 8 9th heaven venerables, and 1 9th heaven venerables in the middle stage. This lineup could be said to be extremely powerful and could kill anyone. He could even kill 2 mid-9th layer martial highnesses, let alone a 7th layer martial highness realm brat. It could be said that this was a situation of certain death. However, no matter how Sir Ling Feng calculated, he still underestimated Lin Xian's strength. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to easily kill an early stage 9th stage venerable, which led to the current situation. Use the blood explosion talisman. In the darkness, the 3 9th level venerables didn't attack. Instead, they led the other 7th and 8th level venerables to attack from afar. Immediately, many venerables took out spirit talismans from their storage rings, bit their fingers and poured a small bowl of blood into them. Those talismans turned blood red and released a monstrous killing intent. Then, these blood explosion talismans were tied to the hidden weapons and quickly flew over. Whoosh, whoosh. Dozens of rays of light flickered in the air, like the eyes of demons, incomparably scarlet. In an instant, countless hidden weapons with incomparably violent blood explosion talismans pierced towards Lin Xian. Looking at the sky full of blood explosion talismans, Lin Xian's expression was cold. In the next moment he pulled out the Lone Star sword behind him, and a sharp sword qi instantly erupted. Countless black flames wrapped around the long sword, forming mysterious patterns that emitted a terrifying temperature. Moreover, the sword let out a low dragon roar, as if the entire longsword was about to transform into a giant dragon. Kill. Lin Xian held the Lone Star sword in his hand and slashed forward. The wind whistled, and the sword qi was like a dragon, accompanied by countless black flames. In the next moment, the surrounding blood explosion talismans and hidden weapons burned rapidly because they were swept by the aftershock of the sword qi. The terrifying temperature directly burned the blood explosion talismans. The hidden weapons and blood explosion talismans in front of him also disappeared in an instant. Not only that, those cultivators also let out ear-piercing screams. In front of him, the cultivators screamed as black flames quickly rose from their bodies and burned fiercely. Almost instantly they were burned to ashes. Lin Xian held the long sword in his hand, and his black hair fluttered. His body exuded a sharp killing intent, and countless black flames rose from under his feet as if they were worshipping him. He was like the god of death as he walked forward. The surrounding cultivators were all stunned. That sword just now had killed more than 100 people, and a large area of empty space appeared in the manor. The remaining people were all trembling, and their faces were filled with fear. "No, I don't want to die." Finally, someone couldn't take it anymore and screamed. This fear was like a plague, spreading rapidly. In an instant, more than half of the cultivators lost their will to fight and fled in all directions. However, the entire manor was sealed, so where could they escape to? Lin Xian let out a low roar and unleashed his ice and fire dual martial souls. Instantly, those fleeing cultivators froze, and countless ice spikes drilled out of their bodies while the surface of their bodies burned rapidly. In an instant everyone was killed. "No, this can't be real." In the distance, Du Tianxing screamed, and his face was extremely pale. Meanwhile, the expressions of Du Kong and the three Ninth Heaven Supremacies who were fighting with the Dark Red Dragon changed drastically. Especially the three Ninth Heaven Supremacies, they quickly retreated, not daring to fight anymore. "Elder Kong, what should we do?" The three of them asked anxiously. "Fight. Otherwise only death awaits." Du Kong's expression was ferocious. "We still have people, we still have hope. Furthermore, the three senior brothers are still on the way and will arrive soon. By then, the four Ninth Heaven Supremacies wouldn't be afraid of him. But we can't stop him at all." The three Ninth Heaven Supremacies shook their heads with fear in their eyes. "Even if we can't stop him, we have to stop him. As long as we can delay him a little more, we can win. Otherwise we will all die," Du Kong said in a low voice. "This time, we have gathered the strength of the 8 great families. I don't believe that we can't kill him." Indeed, the 8 great families under Prince Ling Feng had sent out elite cultivators this time, and there were still many of them in the manor. However, those are all our hard work. If we die here, our 8 great families will be finished. The three Ninth Heaven Supremacies couldn't bear it. "You're wrong. If we die, it will be the real end." Du Kong didn't have any emotions. "As long as we don't die, the 8 great families can be reformed. All right, tell them to come out." "I understand," the three Ninth Heaven Supremacies said. "However, they still need some time to come out." Du Kong nodded. "Let the weaponry refinement team go first. The Blood Demon team and Half Demon team quickly recover." "Yes." The three Ninth Heaven Supremacies agreed. Then with a flash they flew into the depths of the manor. Lin Xian held his sword and watched silently. He didn't stop them. This was because he was here to eliminate the source of the problem. Only when those people took out all their hidden strength would he be able to make a move. Otherwise, if he kept them alive, they would be a disaster in the future. Clang, 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 rumble. Chapter 1296. The sound of metal clanging resounded in the villa, followed by the ground trembling slightly. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. A group of about 50 martial artists appeared in front of him. These people had cold expressions, and their faces had a metallic luster, as if they were not real humans but metal men. Lin Xian was a little surprised. He did not expect to meet such martial artists. Beside him, the dark red dragon frowned. Weapon fusion body refinement? What? Lin Xian did not understand. There is an ancient lost art that can fuse weapons into one's body and cultivate it into an extremely powerful divine ability. You mean these people all have ancient cultivation methods and have cultivated it? Lin Xian was astonished. You've succeeded? How is that possible? That kind of cultivation method has been lost, and the requirements for martial artists are very high. Ordinary martial artists can't cultivate it at all. These people probably only heard of the legend of weapon fusion body refinement, but the method is wrong. The dark red dragon shook his head. These people must have forcibly fused weapons into their bodies. It is very dangerous and the process is very cruel. Hearing the dark red dragon's explanation, Lin Xian also understood that these people in front of him must have cultivated an evil art. These people were really crazy. In order to pursue greater power, they did not hesitate to use such a self-harming method. In front, 50 metal martial artists rushed over quickly like a sharp sword. Soon these people divided into 5 teams of 10 people and rushed over from different directions. The martial artists in the first team spread out their arms, and there were blades on their arms. Thinking about it, these people must have fused their weapons into their arms. The 10 people were very fast and in an instant they were in front of Lin Xian. The arms that had fused with their weapons quickly blasted out, wanting to kill him. Lin Xian snorted and waved his fist, accompanied by countless lightning quickly rampaging. Bang! An earth-shattering sound rang out as he collided with a martial artist who had fused with a giant hammer. Suddenly the whole space shook, and the ear-piercing roar made many people bleed from their ears. Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning, and he was as still as a mountain. The martial artist opposite him took dozens of steps back, and the whole ground was stepped into a ditch. However, his arm was not broken. Lin Xian was also very surprised. As expected of an arm that had fused with a weapon, it was indeed powerful. Compared to martial artists of the same level, it was a whole realm stronger. No wonder these people did not hesitate to harm their own bodies and use such a cruel method. When they saw this scene, Du Kong and Du Tianqing in the distance were overjoyed as well. They realized that they seemed to have found a way to deal with Lin Xian. At least these people weren't instantly killed like before. Go. Kill him. Du Kong roared madly. Immediately, the 50 metal warriors received the order, and their figures flashed like lightning, attacking once again. The first squad was like a sharp knife, rushing to the forefront. Giant hammers, sabers, swords, spears, all sorts of strange weapons appeared on the arms of these people. They flashed with a cold light and fiercely attacked Lin Xian. The second team launched a sneak attack from behind. These people had fused their legs together. With a kick, saber light and sword shadows appeared. The legs of those martial artists were like heavenly sabers. They were incomparably sharp and easily cut open the void. Squad 3, Squad 4 and Squad 5 keep up. Some of these people had fused half of their bodies. Some had completely fused, forming metal people. They could be said to be extremely powerful. Even a 9th heaven venerable would probably find it difficult to escape unscathed when faced with such a terrifying attack. Lin Xian stood in place and did not move. A cold smile appeared on his face. If it were anyone else, they would probably be helpless in this situation. Because the other party's body was really too tough, they could not blast it open at all. However, he was different. He had a way to deal with these people. No matter how strong you are only metal. You will also melt in the face of fierce fire. Lin Xian's expression was cold, and a ball of black flames appeared in his palm. Indeed, Lin Xian had terrifying black flames that could restrain metal. As expected, when the black flames appeared, those metal warriors trembled. Many of them looked terrified. Faced with the black flames, they instinctively felt a kind of fear. Don't retreat, all of you, attack. Although he has flames, he might not be able to restrain us, someone shouted. Hearing this, a trace of madness appeared in these people's eyes. With a roar, they quickly charged over like wild beasts. Stubborn. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He slapped out with his palm and immediately, a large palm of black flames appeared. This black flame came from the heavenly netherbird's origin flame. It was extremely terrifying. Furthermore, Lin Xian had refined it into a martial soul, so it was even stronger. When it appeared, the entire space became distorted. The first team was even more fiercely attacked. Their arms began to melt under the high temperature. Soon, their hands that had fused with their weapons turned into a ball of molten metal that dripped onto the ground. The metal warriors of the first team let out ear-piercing screams. There was no helping it. It was too painful. Could you imagine the feeling of having your arms melt? They were now suffering this kind of torment. These metal warriors originally had this kind of flaw. If they encountered extremely strong flames, they would not be able to resist at all. However, when they had chosen this path, they had thought that they would be lucky. There were very few such flames in the world. Furthermore, as long as it was not a king-level flame, they would not be afraid at all. However, how could they have known that Lin Shen's flames came from an ancient peerless demonic beast? It was even more terrifying than a king-level flame. Therefore they had no way of resisting this kind of black flame at all. The large black palm was like a bulldozer that pushed forward. Everywhere it passed, the metal warriors of the first team melted. In an instant, the threat in front of Lin Shen was eliminated. However, at this time the people of the second team had already charged over. Demonic Blade Kick. Ghost Fire 18 kicks. Wind Cloud Divine Kick. The shadows of the kicks flashed like heavenly blades and divine swords. They were extremely sharp. If an 8th Heaven Venerable Realm was hit by this attack, he would probably explode immediately. Lin Shen sneered. Without even turning his head, he slapped out with his palm. Suddenly, a black fire dragon flew out from his palm and roared as it circled around. The metal warriors of the second team were instantly enveloped by the black dragon. They let out miserable cries. Their attacks were all burned in the air and then melted. Not only that, but 2 black spears appeared in Lin Shen's palms. They burned fiercely and quickly pierced towards the left and right. The spears were extremely sharp and carried a scorching heat. It was as if the fire god had descended to the world. They instantly pierced through the 3rd and 4th teams. As for the 5th team, Lin Shen glanced at them. Then black flames appeared all over their bodies. Soon the 5 teams of the weaponry refinement team were all wiped out. Oh, oh, oh. Chapter 1297. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Black flames danced on the ground, burning fiercely. Meanwhile, the cultivators from the weaponry refinement team were nowhere to be seen. Not even their corpses were left behind. This scene was too terrifying. The weaponry refinement team that had been roaring furiously and filled with killing intent a second ago actually had nothing left behind. For a moment, the entire villa was empty. Seeing this scene, Du Tianxing and Du Kong both felt their scalps go numb. Especially Du Kong, who was even more terrified. This was because he knew the power of the weaponry refinement team. They were definitely extremely powerful. Even a 9th Heaven Venerable could not kill them. Those people were formed by the 8 great clans after spending a lot of effort. Back then, a total of 5,000 people had participated in this experiment, but in the end only 50 people had succeeded. Could be said that this was their secret weapon. Now that they had used it to deal with Lin Shen, it should be very effective. However, who would have thought that they would be killed in an instant? Where are the Blood Demon team and Half-Beast team? Du Kong roared furiously, his eyes filled with fear. He had to delay Lin Shen and wait for the other 3 9th Heaven Venerables to arrive. Otherwise they would be dead for sure. Elder Kong, the Blood Demon team and Half-Beast team have not fully recovered yet. The 9th Heaven Venerable broke out in cold sweat. We can't wait any longer. Let them go quickly. We must stop them. Yes, I understand. The 9th Heaven Venerable gritted his teeth and nodded in the end. Then he turned around and left quickly like a ghost. Not long after, the ground in front of them suddenly flashed brightly. 2 huge hexagram arrays quickly appeared. Then 2 groups of people appeared in the light. Transportation array. Looks like some strange fellows have come out again. The dark red dragon looked forward with anticipation. The dazzling light quickly disappeared, and finally, 2 groups of cultivators appeared on the ground. This time there were fewer people. There were only about 30 people on each side. In total there were about 60 people. However, their auras were even more violent than the weaponry refinement team from before. The 30 people on the left were extremely strange. Their bodies were glowing red. If one looked closely they would realize that it was blood flowing. They were all like blood men. Their cold eyes were extremely red, and they were filled with killing intent. They looked like a group of killing gods. Thinking about it, this should be the Blood Demon team that Du Kong was talking about. Looking at the killing intent on these people, they should have killed at least 10,000 people. Not only that, their blood seemed to have been stimulated by a secret technique, forming a special energy. However, this method of squeezing out the body's potential meant that these martial artists would not live for long. Being able to live for 10 years was already very heaven-defying. The dark red dragon god had a look of disdain on its face. It was very opposed to this method of extracting energy. Then it turned its gaze to the people on the right. Fuck, what is this? The group of warriors on the right was even weirder. Some of them had a pair of wings on their backs, some had scales on their bodies, and some had parts of demonic beasts. This was the last group, the half-demon group. What the hell are they? They're neither human nor demon. They're neither fish nor fowl. These guys are really courting death. The dark red dragon shook its head. This should be their final secret weapon. Lin Xian said coldly as he looked at the blood demons and half-fiends. It seems that in order to obtain great power, they have already turned into demons. This is not something a martial artist would do. Since it's something that shouldn't exist in this world, let it disappear. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, and his eyes were full of fighting spirit. At the front, the blood demons and half-fiends quickly recovered after receiving the order. The eyes of the blood demons on the left exploded with a terrifying red light. Their killing intent was incomparable, as if they had gone crazy. The blood-red killing intent was agitated and shrouded the entire sky. In an instant the entire manor was dyed blood-red. The 30 people at the front all had materialized killing intent. Then they soared into the sky and charged at Lin Xian quickly. Killing intent? You're not qualified. Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. Then, his eyes shone with a dazzling light. Blood Sword Massacre Inheritance activate. A violent energy instantly exploded from his body. Blood-red sword aura gushed out from Lin Xian's body and quickly covered the surroundings, forming a sea of blood. 2 rays of blood-red light appeared in his cold eyes. Not only that, his black hair danced in the wind and was also dyed blood-red. A shocking and violent killing intent exploded from Lin Xian's body. It swept through heaven and earth, causing the entire manor to tremble violently. If the killing intent of the 30 people at the front were rivers and lakes, then Lin Xian's was a vast ocean, a vast starry sky. Boundless and endless. The two were not even on the same level. What? How is this possible? How can he have such a terrifying killing intent? In the distance, Du Kong and the other 9th Heaven Supremacies were all stunned. How many people did he have to kill to form such a violent killing intent? 100,000? 1 million? Or 10 million? They did not dare to believe that a 20-year-old martial artist could kill so many people. How could they know that the reason Lin Xian could display such a violent killing intent was entirely because of the Blood Sword Massacre inheritance? That was the inheritance of a king. It was definitely not something that they could imagine. In front, the 30 cultivators of the Blood Demon group also sensed Lin Xian's aura. Instantly they trembled uneasily. The killing intent on their bodies also became chaotic and uneasy. Facing Lin Xian, they were no longer charging forward crazily. Instead, they were like trembling kittens. They did not have any resistance at all. Oh no, the consciousness of the Blood Demon group is about to collapse. Behind them, a 9th Heaven Supremacy's expression changed drastically. In the next instant he took out a blood-red bell. A hint of madness appeared in his eyes, and he shook it rapidly. Dang 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 dang. Strange syllables were heard. When the blood demons heard this, they instantly went crazy. Their trembling bodies also returned to normal. However, the aura on their bodies became even more violent. The veins in their eyes were also so thick that they could not be removed. If an outsider saw this, they would know that these people had completely gone crazy. The 30 figures were like suicide soldiers who did not care about their lives as they quickly charged forward. Even if they had to self-destruct, they had to kill this young man in front of them. Lin Xian's invitation was even more arrogant. It was as if he had been reborn. The sea of blood around him surged, and a blood-red longsword condensed in front of him. Blood-splitting sky. With a swing of the sword, an unparalleled sword light surged rapidly. It was like a blood-red rainbow that instantly enveloped the 30 people in front of him. Wherever the sword light passed, countless demonic sounds and ghostly howls could be heard. It made one's scalp go numb. At this moment, the entire 30-feet area seemed to have turned into a hellish battlefield. Bang! The blood-red sword light slashed down, and the 30 blood demon cultivators in front of him quickly exploded like dazzling fireworks. One sword, and the blood demon group was annihilated. No. This can't be real. I must be dreaming. Seeing this scene, Du Kong and the rest went crazy. Du Qinxing even knelt on the ground, trembling, and kept fiddling with his hair. Chapter 1298. In fact, the other party's killing aura had directly destroyed his mind. He could not resist at all. He could only kneel here and tremble. Below, the half-demon cultivators also went crazy and roared anxiously. They did not even need to wait for orders. They had already charged forward crazily. Just now, Lin Xian's blood-red killing sword aura had already destroyed their minds. Now, they were already in a state of madness. They did not know what danger was at all. That was why they had charged forward crazily. Meanwhile, Lin Xian floated in mid-air. The blood sea and blood sword around him had not disappeared. Not only that, but they had become even clearer. They even emitted a pungent smell of blood. Today I'll let you see what a real killing aura is. Lin Xian's lips curled up in a cold smile. He did not put away the blood sword massacre inheritance. Instead he used it to the extreme. Dressed in a black robe, his blood-red hair fluttered. Lin Xian held a sword in his hand. He was like a god of death. The boundless blood sea surged in the air, emitting a sound that made one's soul tremble. Bloodthirsty demonic sword, first sword, spirit slaughter. Lin Xian's voice was cold. His killing aura had materialized. His arrogant aura was like a volcano, causing the entire mountain villa to tremble. At this moment, Lin Xian had transformed into a demon. The boundless blood sea surged in the sky, dyeing the entire mountain villa red. 8 streaks of blood-red sword aura slashed out in all directions with Lin Xian as the center. The ground split open and houses collapsed. It was a mess. The 30 half-demon cultivators were also turned into a bloody mist by the 8 streaks of sword aura. At this moment nothing could stop Lin Xian. Seeing this, the 3 Ninth Heaven Venerables' expressions changed drastically. Du Kong's face was even paler, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Dead. They were all dead. What did he spend? The elites that he had nurtured for decades had all died in this battle. He could not accept this at all. Not only that, but the more serious thing was that the entire mountain villa was now sealed. They could not escape at all. As expected, Lin Xian's second sword was aimed at these Ninth Heaven Venerables. Bloodthirsty demon sword, second sword, slaughtering wind. It was another blood-red sword chi. Wherever it passed, a blood-red gust of wind blew through the entire manor. 4 blood-red hurricanes connected heaven and earth, as if a demon king was walking in the human world. These 4 tornadoes charged towards the 3 Ninth Heaven Venerables and Du Kong respectively. That blood-red hurricane was simply too violent. It contained an invincible aura as well as blood-red slaughter sword chi. Coupled with the fact that these people had been scared out of their wits by Lin Xian, there was no way they could fight back. Ping ping ping. Not long after, the 3 ninth level Venerables were enveloped by the blood-colored hurricane. Although they did their best to resist, the blood-red hurricane gave off countless resplendent sword lights. They were too terrifying and instantly cut these people apart. A gust of wind blew past, and the 3 powerful Ninth Heaven Venerables were reduced to a pile of minced meat. As for the 4th blood-red hurricane, it quickly flew towards Du Kong. Even Du Kong, who was a mid-stage Ninth Heaven Venerable, felt his scalp go numb at this moment. This was because this aura was really too wild. Under normal circumstances, Du Kong would not be afraid. However, this hurricane was unleashed by Lin Xian in an extremely frenzied state. Furthermore, it contained the blood energy of those dead cultivators. He did not dare to resist at all. However, the surrounding paths were all sealed. Grandfather, do something. Quickly do something. I don't want to die. At the side, Du Tianxing was so scared that he wet his pants. His handsome face was extremely pale. At this moment he no longer had the arrogance from before. He was like a lowly ant. However, Du Kong was silent. As he looked at the blood-red hurricane that was getting closer and closer, he made up his mind, and a hint of madness appeared in his eyes. His hand was like a ghost claw, and it was as fast as lightning as it grabbed Du Tianxing. Du Tianxing immediately screamed in pain. This was because that hand had already sunk into his flesh, bringing forth a large amount of blood. Ah, grandfather, you? Du Tianxing was both shocked and frightened. He did not know what to do. However, in the next moment his body suddenly exploded, turning into a bloody mist. Du Tianxing did not believe that his grandfather would kill him with his own hands. However, he did not know this now. The pile of blood quickly condensed in front of Du Kong, forming a fist-sized blood-red ball of light. Then Du Kong slapped it out. Boom. The blood-red ball of light was formed by Du Kong using a secret method. It was very strange. It required the body of a cultivator as the raw material, so he killed Du Tianxing. The ball of light was like a blood-red moon flying quickly. Then it hit the hurricane, causing a tremor like today. The hurricane swept through and blood filled the air. The entire villa was completely shrouded in it. When everything disappeared, a bottomless pit appeared in front of them, as if it was connected to the netherworld. The 3 arrays that had been set up in the villa were also shattered by the explosion, leaving only the dark red dragon array that was still standing. Du Kong escaped with his life with the help of the blood-red ball of light. He hid at the side and kept panting. Looking at the scene before him, Du Kong's face was extremely pale. His heart was bleeding. This was the secret villa that he had painstakingly built to cultivate elites for the 8 great families. Now everything was destroyed. There was nothing left. In an instant he seemed to have aged 100 years. He knew that everything was caused by this abominable kid in front of him. It was this kid who destroyed the 8 great families with his own hands. Anger rose in Du Kong's heart. It was like a raging fire burning in his body. However, in the next moment his body trembled. The anger in his body retreated quickly as if it had encountered ice. Even Du Kong's body began to tremble. This was because he saw Lin Xian walking towards him. In the distance, Lin Xian held a blood-red sword in his hand. Behind him, there was an endless sea of blood. Step by step he walked towards him. With every step Lin Xian took, Du Kong's heart sank. In the end he rolled and crawled away into the distance. "Stop. You can't kill me." Du Kong began to beg for mercy. "Can't kill you?" Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Give me a reason not to kill you. If you kill me, young Master Ling Feng won't let you go." "Idiot." Lin Xian was disdainful. He slowly raised the blood-red sword in his hand. "Don't do it. Don't kill me. I know a lot of secrets about young Master Ling Feng and the Duan family. As long as you don't kill me, I'll tell you everything." Seeing that his threats were useless, Du Kong immediately changed his strategy. He wanted to use his value to exchange for a way out. "You're not even a member of the Duan family. What secrets do you know? I'm afraid you can't even enter the Duan family's core circle." Lin Xian sneered. "Stop struggling. I'll send you on your way." After saying that, Lin Xian raised the blood-red sword and was about to slash forward. At this moment there was a sudden roar in the sky. "Kid, let go of Elder Kong quickly. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead." This voice was like a clap of thunder, exploding from above. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian frowned and turned to look forward. On the other hand, Du Kong on the ground was ecstatic. Chapter 1299. 3 powerful auras came from the void above. They were extremely violent and made one's heart tremble. 3 mid-stage 9th heaven venerables. Lin Xian frowned slightly and his eyes flickered. The dark red divine dragon also snorted. I didn't expect reinforcements to arrive." "Kid, be careful. They seem to have a precious weapon in their hands that can break through the last formation." "Treasure?" Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning as he looked up. Indeed, in the next moment, a blue pagoda suddenly enlarged and smashed downwards like a giant mountain. Boom, boom, boom. An earth-shattering sound was heard, and a huge crack appeared on the last array. Then, the 3 9th heaven venerables controlled the blue pagoda again and widened the crack. In the end, the entire array was split into 2. Swoosh, swoosh. 3 figures with powerful auras descended quickly. Lin Xian held his sword and sneered as he looked at the 3 of them. In front of him was a middle-aged man in a black robe and an old woman in a red robe with a walking stick. The last one was bald and had poisonous snakes crawling all over his body. The 3 of them had powerful auras and they were like 3 mountains standing there. Behind them, hundreds of cultivators rushed over. "Sky Snake Venerable, Red Flower Granny, Taoist Monk Mu, save me!" Du Kong shouted crazily. "Elder Du, don't worry. We will definitely ensure your safety," the bald Sky Snake Venerable said in a deep voice. "Yes, not only that, we will also kill this kid." The middle-aged man in black, Taoist Monk Mu, was also filled with killing intent. Facing the 3 arrogant people, Lin Xian didn't care at all. Instead, he stared at the blue pagoda in Red Flower Granny's hand. A fragment of an Earth-stage treasure. No wonder it has such power to break the array. Lin Xian muttered and nodded slightly. "I didn't expect you to have some knowledge. Since you know the power of the treasure, I advise you to surrender obediently. Perhaps this way you can leave a complete corpse. Otherwise, don't blame us for tearing you into pieces." Red Flower Granny snorted with a sinister smile. However, Lin Xian was unmoved. His eyes were like lightning as he slowly scanned the crowd. "Looks like you guys should be the last reinforcements. Since that's the case, let's end it." "Arrogant and ignorant. You're courting death. Brat, you're dead. You won't be able to escape today." Angry shouts rang out one after another. On the other hand, Lin Xian's expression was ice-cold. His entire body was surrounded by lightning and black flames. His entire being was like a god of war, unstoppable. He fused the blood-colored light sword in his hand with the Lone Star sword, and then drew a strange trajectory in the air. Blood-red sword chi, purplish-white lightning, black flames, frost, sword soul. Streaks of terrifying power were unleashed as the Lone Star sword danced through the air. Subsequently, 5 gigantic heavenly swords formed in the sky. Gale Lightning Sword, 5 Sword Gods and Demons Annihilation. Lin Xian performed the Gale Lightning Sword technique in the face of 4 mid-stage 9th tier martial supremacies and close to 100 assassins. Furthermore, it was the final form of the Gale Lightning Sword technique. 5 gigantic heavenly swords appeared in the air. One of them was blood red in color. With a monstrous killing aura, it slashed towards the 100 martial artists in the distance. Boom. As the sword landed, the ground caved in and the void shattered. The violent killing aura immediately shrouded the 100 martial artists. Screams rang out one after another. Countless people struggled in a frenzy, trying to break out of the encirclement. However, they were all turned into blood mist by the gigantic sword and no longer existed. In an instant, the 100 martial artists were all annihilated. What? Sky Snake Supremacy and Safflower Grandma had just arrived and had not seen Lin Xian's previous combat strength. Hence, when they saw this scene, their eyelids twitched violently. How could it be? There were hundreds of elites and countless experts. Even they could not kill them in one move. However, the young man in front of them did it. This gave them a bad premonition. The 3 of you, this brat is extremely powerful. Don't hesitate. Hurry up and attack together. Du Kong roared in a frenzy to remind everyone. Sky Snake Supremacy and the other 2 gasped when they heard that. Then, an incomparable killing intent erupted from their bodies. Kill? Furious roars rang out one after another. Sky Snake Supremacy and the other 2 quickly attacked. Tens of thousands of snakes ran around Sky Snake Supremacy's body and formed a huge flying python that charged forward quickly. Safflower Grandma activated the blue pagoda in her hand and shot out a dazzling light shadow. The power was extremely terrifying and caused the entire void to crack. Taoist Priest Mu moved like a ghost. The black longsword in his hand was as fast as lightning as it pierced toward Lin Xian's back. Du Kong, who was on the ground, also roared in rage. He unleashed a violent power and waved his fists to attack Lin Xian. In an instant, the 4 top experts attacked together. They were determined to kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was laughing wildly. His blood-red hair fluttered in the air. He had an extremely arrogant smile on his face. The aura on his body was as sharp as a peerless divine sword. Let's fight. Today the 4 of you will die here. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud dragon roar rang out from his body. The 4 gigantic swords in the sky slashed down even faster. A gigantic black sword, which carried countless black flames, like the fire of hell, slashed toward Du Kong. A gigantic blue sword, which was releasing endless chilliness, froze the void wherever it passed. It quickly pierced toward Taoist Priest Mu. A purple-white lightning sword, which had an extremely violent aura, pierced through the void and swept toward Sky Snake Supremacy. The last gigantic sword, which was extremely simple, had a faint dragon shadow on it. It was as if a gigantic dragon had pierced through the void and slashed toward Safflower Grandma. In an instant, thunder roared and the wind howled. It was like a scene of destruction. Buff, buff, clang, clang. The fist shadow of Du Kong evaporated in an instant. Not only that, his entire body was cut in half by the black flame sword. His corpse was burned clean, leaving no trace behind. In the void, the gigantic flying snake shadow was pierced through by countless lightning bolts. It screamed and collapsed. Sky Snake Supremacy was scorched black. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and flew backward. The blue ice sword released endless power of ice, which instantly froze Taoist Priest Mu into an ice sculpture. Then it shattered into countless pieces. The last gigantic sword, which was in the shape of a dragon, emitted a killing intent that could pierce through heaven and earth. It went straight for Safflower Grandma. In an instant, Safflower Grandma was scared out of her wits. She bit her finger and dripped a drop of blood on the blue pagoda, frantically activating it. The blue pagoda enlarged like a huge blue mountain, enveloping her. Clang. An earth-shaking sound rang out. The entire void cracked. Safflower Grandma and the blue pagoda were both sent flying. The 4 gigantic swords fell. Du Kong and Mu Luoren died on the spot. Sky Snake Supremacy and Safflower Grandma were also seriously injured. If this matter were to spread, it would definitely cause a huge commotion in the entire Jianghu continent. 4 venerables in the middle stage of the 9th level fought Lin Xian, but the result was 2 dead and 2 injured. This was too unbelievable. No. This is impossible. How can you have such powerful combat strength? Chapter 1300. No. This is impossible. How can you have such powerful battle prowess? The surviving Sky Snake Supremacy and Red Flower Grandma went crazy in disbelief. Before they came, they were full of confidence and thought that their plan was flawless. They would definitely be able to eliminate Lin Xian. However, they did not expect the current situation. You're not human. You're a demon, a demon. They were indeed crazy. Even a late-stage Ninth Heaven Supremacy would not be able to have such terrifying power. Stupid. Ignorant. Lin Xian spat. Then, he flicked out two void-shattering fingers, instantly piercing through Sky Snake Supremacy and Red Flower Grandma's heads. Plop. Plop. Their eyes widened. Before they fell, they were already dead. Even in death, they could not believe that they had been killed so easily. 4 top experts, 9 Ninth Heaven Supremacies, and hundreds of elite cultivators had been completely annihilated. How terrifying was this young man before them? He could actually fight against the 8 great clans and even kill countless experts. How old was he? He was only 20 years old. Yet he already had such battle prowess. Perhaps even the kings of the continent could not have such achievements back then. It's over. Lin Xian put away the Lone Star Sword and turned to walk outside. When he and the Dark Red Dragon walked out of the villa behind them suddenly burned. Countless black flames swallowed the entire villa like demons. When Lin Xian disappeared in the sky, the entire Nanshan city was shaken. Actually, the experts in the city had already felt the violent energy earlier. However, that energy was too powerful, and they did not dare to go near for fear of being affected. When the force weakened, many experts nearby went to check it out. Then they were all dumbfounded and stood rooted to the ground. There was a huge, deep pit in front of them. It covered a radius of 100 miles and was unfathomably deep. The originally majestic villa was gone. Not only the entire Nanshan city, but experts from the nearby cities also flew over. This was because the impact of the previous battle had spread very far. Ordinary cultivators were only shocked by the terrifying pit. However, those experts' eyes widened and their scalps went numb. They knew that this was where the great clans gathered. Countless elites were gathered. However, at this moment it was actually destroyed. This was definitely a huge matter, and the Duan clan would probably be incomparably furious. One had to know that the Duan clan's current situation was extremely bad. They were often assassinated, but now their secret location had actually been destroyed. Who did this? Killing so many people should be enough to exchange for a longevity pill, right? Many people were extremely excited when they heard the news. When this news reached the Duan clan, everyone in the Duan clan was shocked. They couldn't believe that so many elite martial artists and absolute experts couldn't kill a 7th-level venerable. How is this possible? How is this possible? How could that brat survive? What was going on? Tell me. Young Master Ling Feng roared in anger. The martial artists under him were so frightened that they knelt on the ground, trembling. Young Master, we really don't know. The entire manor is suspected to have been leveled, and not a single trace was left behind. I'm guessing that brat must have brought a large number of Ninth Heaven Venerables with him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to destroy the entire manor. Yes, that must be it. We were careless this time. I didn't expect him to be so cautious. Trash, a bunch of trash. Young Master Ling Feng was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. He had never suffered such a loss before. Send people to investigate. We must find out the brat's whereabouts. If you find out that he's alone, inform me immediately. He was really mad. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't find Lin Xian now, he would definitely bring the Duan clan's men and kill them immediately. Not only the Duan clan, but all the top forces and king clans of the Jianghu continent were shocked when they heard the news. Now the conflict between the Duan clan and Lin Xian was very intense. This was something that everyone knew. Originally, they didn't think highly of Lin Xian because the Duan clan was too powerful. But who would have thought that Lin Xian would use 5 longevity pills and cause the Duan clan to fall into an extremely passive situation? Bhutan was already like this, and now there was even news that Lin Xian had destroyed a secret base of the Duan family. This was simply too shocking. On the other side, after Lin Xian left Nanshan City, he didn't return to the Immortal Martial Academy immediately. Instead, he flew to a large forest nearby. Because he wanted to get rid of the killing intent on his body. Previously, during the battle with the 8 great clans, Lin Xian used the blood-colored slaughter sword intent. He was like a god of death, abnormally fierce. The effect of that battle strength was very shocking. However, this killing intent was very fierce, and it would take some time to completely disperse. If he couldn't disperse this killing intent, it would probably affect Lin Xian's mind, and no one would be able to get close to him. In the vast forest, Lin Xian walked slowly. Everywhere he passed, countless trees and rocks were all broken. This wasn't done by Lin Xian at all. It was the effect of the killing intent on his body. Now, martial artists below the 9th heavenly layer wouldn't even dare to get close to him. And Lin Xian used the great dragon sword spirit to maintain absolute clarity and avoid being affected by the killing intent. Gradually, the blood-colored light in his eyes disappeared. His blood-red hair also gradually returned to normal. The killing intent on his body was weakening bit by bit. 3 days later, Lin Xian returned to normal. It had to be said that the blood-colored killing intent was too terrifying. It was only because he had the great dragon sword spirit that he could maintain his clarity of mind at all times. Otherwise, if it was anyone else, they would have collapsed long ago. It was hard to imagine how the Blood Sword Monarch had maintained so much blood-colored killing intent back then. Thinking of this, Lin Xian sighed. It's nothing. Kings have their own domains. Thinking about it, the Blood Sword Monarch should have stored all the killing intent in his domain. That's why he could maintain absolute clarity of mind. The Dark Red Dragon explained, a king's domain can be said to have endless magical uses and is very mysterious. When you step into this realm in the future, you'll understand. King's domain? Lin Xian's eyes were filled with anticipation. However, his current cultivation was only at the 7th heavenly layer. He was still far from the king realm. Under normal circumstances, for a 7th heavenly layer venerable to cultivate to the king realm, even if he was a genius, it would probably take hundreds of years. Of course, this was the case if there was no fortuitous encounter. If there was a fortuitous encounter, it would allow one's cultivation to increase in a short period of time. However, this kind of fortuitous encounter couldn't be sought. Some people might not even encounter it in their entire lives. Lin Xian wouldn't place his hopes on such a faintly discernible fortuitous encounter. Although his cultivation was only at the 7th heavenly layer, his great dragon sword spirit had already reached the 8th heavenly layer. Moreover, it was at the peak. It wouldn't be long before it broke through to the 9th heavenly layer. Ruffian dragon, if my sword spirit breaks through to the king realm in advance, will I be able to condense a king's domain? Lin Xian asked. This? Chapter 1301. Ruffian dragon, if my sword soul breaks through to the king realm, will I be able to form a king's domain? Lin Xian asked. This? The dragon rubbed its chin and fell into deep thought. To be honest, Lin Xian's situation was quite special. His sword soul was actually able to surpass his cultivation. Theoretically, it should be possible. However, I don't know if you'll be able to control it. The dragon said. Can I? Lin Xian's heart trembled. If that was the case, then he would be a huge step away from the king realm. He only needed to find enough energy to awaken the great dragon sword soul. Once the king's domain was formed, Lin Xian believed that as long as he could control the great dragon sword soul, he would be able to control the king's domain. At that time, he would be able to control the king's domain. Just thinking about it made him excited. Let's go back to the Immortal Martial Academy. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he turned into a ray of sword light that soared into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. Immortal Martial Academy, Starpoint Peak. This was Lin Xian's new residence. At this moment, the 9th Elder, 10th Elder, Yu Fei and the others were waiting anxiously. What do you want me to say? How can you let the young lord go to such a dangerous place alone? The 9th Elder looked at Yu Fei and the others and shook his head. That's enough. These people can't control what the young lord wants to do. Don't scold them. The news has already spread. The young lord is fine, and the Duan clan's manor was completely destroyed. The 10th Elder persuaded. As for Yu Fei and the others, they were covered in cold sweat and didn't dare to speak. At this moment, a ray of sword light flashed in the sky and landed on the Starpoint Peak. Brother Xian. Yu Fei and the others were overjoyed. The 9th Elder and the 10th Elder also heaved a sigh of relief. Young Lord, you're finally back. Young Lord, if you didn't come back, the 9th Elder would have eaten all of them. The 10th Elder laughed. I'm sorry for making everyone worry. Lin Xian briefly explained the situation, but it still made everyone's heart palpitate. Oh right, 9th Elder, why did you go back a while ago? Could it be that something big has happened in the War God Palace? Lin Xian asked. The 9th Elder and the 10th Elder were core elders of the War God Palace. Previously, when the two of them returned together, it meant that something big had happened. That was why Lin Xian was so concerned. Young Master, don't worry. Nothing big happened. The two of us went back to bring something for young Master. The 9th Elder smiled. Take something? What is it? Lin Xian was even more curious. Naturally, these are the cultivation resources that the palace master left for you. Elder Jiao said as he took out a storage ring. The resources my father left for me? Lin Xin was very curious. He quickly took the ring and probed it with his soul force. He was stunned. This is too rich. Bottles of pills, piles of spirit fruits, cultivation techniques, weapons and defensive equipment. This was simply a mini treasure trove. Lin Xin had only seen such rich resources in the remote sky mystery realm. He had never seen anything else other than that. Ninth Elder, these are all for me? Lin Xin confirmed once again. To be honest, he had said that he had to rely on himself to obtain cultivation resources. He did not believe that he would suddenly obtain so many cultivation resources out of thin air, even though these resources were given to him by his father. Young master, don't worry. These are given to you by the palace master. Furthermore, this is only the first portion of the resources. When your strength increases, there will be more resources. There are more resources. So rich. Lin Xin was pleasantly surprised. However, the 9th elder and the 10th elder sighed. Young master, you have suffered all these years. The two of them felt very guilty because these resources were nothing to the core disciples of the king family. However, as the son of the war god palace master, Lin Xin had never enjoyed such good resources. It had to be said that it was really hard to be confident. Don't worry, young master. The war god palace will be your home in the future. The war god palace will provide you with all the resources you need. Lin Xin asked and found out how extravagant the core disciples of the king family were. It was no wonder that those people's cultivations were so high, and their strength far exceeded that of others. The resources that they usually used were not something that ordinary warriors could imagine. Only Lin Xin had the great dragon sword soul, and many fortuitous encounters could compare to those people. Now that he had become the young master of the war god palace, he would definitely not fall behind those core disciples of the king family in terms of resources. He probed and found that these resources were divided into 4 parts. The first part was pills that could be consumed by supremacies. Moreover, the effects were very good. The second part was a half-earth rank artifact that contained an earth rank artifact fragment. It was very powerful. The third part was a set of battle armor called the Starry Sky Battle Armor. The fourth part was various cultivation techniques and secret manuals that were suitable for supremacies. When your strength increases to half-step King Realm and King Realm, there will be more resources. The 9th elder explained. Lin Xin nodded, indicating that he understood. The first portion of the elixir resources was completely acceptable to him. As for the second portion, the treasured sword named Chongshan contained an earth rank fragment treasure, which was indeed very powerful. However, Lin Xin probed and found that it was about the same as the Lone Star sword in his hand. However, the Lone Star sword was a nimble and speed-type sword, while the overlapped mountain sword was a powerful sword. Could be said that they both had their strengths. As for the third part of the Starry Sky Battle Armor, Lin Xin was a little confused. It was different from what he had imagined. It was not a ready-made battle armor, but a very small, star-like stone. Elder, how do I use this? Lin Xin scratched his head with a puzzled expression. Young master, you just need to pour your blood into it. The 9th elder explained. This Starry Sky Battle Armor is very special. It comes from the mysterious Starry Sky secret realm. Unlike the battle armor on our continent, it needs to absorb a cultivator's blood before it can be unfolded. Moreover, this battle armor is very powerful. It can block 70% of any attack below the King Realm. 70%? Isn't that the same as the Red Lotus battle armor? Lin Xin was tempted. He quickly cut open his palm and placed the blue stone on the wound. Instantly, the stone started to absorb blood like a bottomless pit. Lin Xin was extremely shocked by the speed at which it absorbed blood. Fortunately, the 9th elder had warned him, so he didn't resist. After absorbing about a third of his blood, the stone stopped absorbing blood and quickly merged into Lin Xin's palm. In the next moment, Lin Xin could clearly sense that the blue stone in his palm was like his body. Starry Sky Battle Armor. Lin Xin bellowed and a set of blue armor quickly appeared on the surface of his body, covering him in an instant. It covered him from head to toe and only his eyes were exposed. The blue battle armor flickered like stars under the sunlight. After giving it a try, Lin Xin noticed that the Starry Sky Battle Armor was really able to block 70% of the damage. This made him extremely delighted. After all, the Red Lotus Battle Armor that he had just refined was also able to block 70% of the damage. Its effect was extraordinarily good. Chapter 1302. First of all, the universal armor was a complete set while the Red Lotus armor was only a single piece of armor. According to the blueprint of the Red Lotus armor, the entire Red Lotus armor should be able to withstand 90% of the damage. In other words, the Red Lotus armor's grade was even higher than the universal armor. However, the materials used to refine the Red Lotus armor were very precious, so Lin Xian was only halfway done. But now, with the new star armor, it could make up for his lack of defense. With a thought, the star armor quickly disappeared and returned to his body. There was no trace of it on the outside. With another thought, the star armor appeared instantly. What a magical armor! Lin Xian smiled. The ninth elder said, "This armor is indeed magical. Not only is its defense strong, but it can also transform into any form. It's very precious." "Oh yeah, where is the Star Mystery Realm? Why haven't I heard of it?" Lin Xian asked. The ninth elder said slowly, "The Star Mystery Realm isn't on the Jianghu continent. It's hidden in the boundless starry sky. The Mystery Realm is very dangerous. It's said that only martial artists above the King Realm can enter. But if you can come out safely, you can at least bring out a piece of star armor." Lin Xian asked, "That means the other King clans also have this kind of star armor?" "The King clans all have this kind of star armor, but there won't be too many. Usually there won't be more than 10 pieces. Does the Duan clan have it?" "Yes, before the Duan clan rebelled, they once obtained 3 pieces. One is with young master Ling Feng, one is with Wu Zun, and the last one is with the Duan clan's patriarch," the ninth elder explained. "I see. I didn't expect young master Ling Feng to have such an armor. Looks like I'll have to put in more effort to kill him." Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. "Young master, are you planning to attack young master Ling Feng?" The ninth elder was surprised. Lin Xian nodded, "I do want to attack him. He schemed against me this time, so I have to pay him back. However, we must discuss the plan carefully. We must kill him in one go. Young master, if there's anything you need, just let us know," the ninth and 10th elders said at the same time. "Don't worry. If I need your help, I won't be courteous," Lin Xian said with a smile. At this moment, the Crimson Divine Dragon also came out. When he saw the galaxy armor on Lin Xian's body, he immediately exclaimed, "Kid, where did you get your armor from?" "Dad gave it to me. What do you think? Don't you look handsome in it?" Lin Xian laughed. "Your father gave it to you? Then where did he get it?" "Brat, do you know that this is battle armor made by the Heaven's Legacy race?" "Heaven's Legacy race? What is that?" Lin Xian was puzzled. Even the 9th and 10th elders were puzzled. They had never heard of the Heaven's Legacy race. Thus, Lin Xian told him everything he had heard about the Star Mystery Realm. "The Star Secret Realm is in the sky?" "That's right. That should be a secret realm left behind by the Heaven's Legacy race. Brat, you're quite lucky to be able to obtain the star armor made by the Heaven's Legacy race," the Crimson Divine Dragon exclaimed. "Heaven's Legacy race? What's that? Is it very powerful?" "Of course it is. The Heaven's Legacy race is a very mysterious race that specializes in all kinds of manufacturing. Moreover, they were very famous in the ancient times and even the ancient times. However, they are too mysterious. Very few people have seen them. Only some of their products have been passed down in the world. The galaxy armor you're wearing is one of them. However, it's a relatively low-level one." "What? This is low-level?" Lin Xian's eyes widened. "Of course it's low-level. It can only block 70% of the damage. You have the Red Lotus armor, right? That blueprint should also be from the Heaven's Legacy race." "What? The Red Lotus armor too?" This time Lin Xian was really shocked. That was a battle armor that could block 90% of the damage. He didn't expect it to be made by the Heaven's Legacy race. "This is nothing. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the Heaven's Legacy race. When you become stronger, you'll know how terrifying the Heaven's Legacy race is. Let me put it this way. A king is very powerful, right?" Lin Xian and the others nodded. The 9th elder said, "Of course. They are the pinnacle of existence on this continent. However, the Heaven's Legacy race once created a puppet that can easily tear a king apart." The dark red divine dragon revealed an explosive piece of news. "What?" This time, everyone was dumbfounded. A puppet was able to tear apart a king? No matter how they heard it, it sounded like a myth. The dark red divine dragon snorted. "You don't have to make such a fuss. The Heaven's Legacy race is far more powerful than you can imagine. Moreover, the mysteries of this world far surpass your understanding. Cultivate well. One day when you leave this continent and break through the endless sea, You will know what it means to be vast. Now that you mention it, even I am tempted. Lin Xian clenched his fists. Even the ninth elder and the others were shocked. This was because they had only seen some legends and ancient books. They knew far less than the dark red divine dragon. Everyone discussed for a while before calming down. Then Lin Xian looked at the fourth treasure. It was the cultivation technique manuals. Lin Xian looked at them and found that they were roughly divided into two categories. One was for cultivation, and the other was about the history and knowledge of the continent and martial arts. The cultivation technique was divided into physical and spiritual. The ninth elder said, according to the palace master, when a martial artist cultivates, his body and soul cannot be separated. He has to cultivate both. He even proposed the wooden bucket principle, which states that a cultivator's strength is determined by his weakest aspect. Therefore, both the body and the soul must be cultivated. Even if you can't specialize in them, the difference can't be too great. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, the closer he got to the end, the more he felt the importance of these two aspects. There were a total of 2 cultivation manuals. One was the Sky Spill visualization art for cultivating the soul, and the other was the Furious Dragon art for cultivating blood chi. These 2 cultivation techniques had reached the level of Earth-rank martial arts. Moreover, they were extremely rare cultivation techniques. Lin Xian had seen many Earth-rank martial arts, but most of them were fist techniques, sword techniques, saber techniques, and other martial arts with extremely strong attack power. Very few of them cultivated the martial artist's own cultivation techniques. And now, he finally had such a cultivation technique. If a martial artist wanted to unleash extremely strong combat power, he had to be strong first. Only then could he withstand that kind of powerful explosion. In the following days, Lin Xian began to cultivate on Point Star Peak. He did not directly cultivate the Sky Spill visualization art and the Furious Dragon art. Instead, he first looked through the basic martial arts knowledge. Chapter 1303. Originally, Lin Xian was just curious and wanted to see what kind of knowledge there was. But after reading it, he was extremely shocked and felt that his worldview had been overturned. It turned out that some of his previous understandings were not comprehensive and even wrong. Some of the sayings in these books opened his eyes. In the past, because of the existence of the great dragon sword spirit, Wine Lord, and the others, Lin Xian knew that this world was more magical than he imagined and that he had a long way to go. But now, after understanding this knowledge, he finally knew why those people were so strong. The strength of a martial artist was one thing, but how much of it they could unleash was different. For example, for people of the same realm, some could unleash 10,000 pounds of strength, but some could only unleash 5,000 pounds of strength. There were even some who could unleash 12,000 pounds of strength. There was a huge gap between them. There were many factors that influenced it, such as one's own conditions, martial techniques, and experience. Take cultivation techniques, for example. Yellow grade and black grade cultivation techniques were too crude and could only unleash a portion of a martial artist's strength. Only when it reached spirit grade cultivation techniques could it unleash a martial artist's full strength. But that was all he could do. Earth grade cultivation techniques that were above spirit grade could unleash strength that exceeded the martial artist's own strength. For example, early stage earth grade cultivation techniques could unleash strength that exceeded a martial artist by 3 to 5 times. If it was a martial artist with 10,000 pounds of strength, after unleashing an earth grade cultivation technique, it was very likely that he could unleash 50,000 pounds of strength. This was a difference of 5 times, far surpassing people of the same realm. Just like when Lin Xian unleashed the Gale Lightning Sword technique previously, he directly killed 4 Ninth Heaven Venerables who were far stronger than him. It was estimated that the strength he unleashed at that time was more than 5 times. Not only that, martial techniques and treasured weapons could also be stacked. If a martial artist had an earth-grade martial technique and a high-grade treasured weapon, it was not a problem to unleash more than 10 times the strength. Of course, the prerequisite for all of this was that one had to be strong. Otherwise, it would be like a baby holding a treasure sword and a peerless expert holding a stone. The result was obvious. As for soul power, it was roughly divided into 2 types. One was object control, mainly used to engrave inscriptions and control objects. The other was illusion, which used soul power to directly attack. Both of them had their own characteristics. For now, Lin Xian was walking on the first path of inscription. For example, Zhao Xue's Void Sky Eyes clearly walked the path of the second type of illusion, directly using soul attacks. Lin Xian currently did not have any thoughts of using illusions to attack, but his great dragon sword soul had both physical attacks and the ability to cut through illusions. Therefore he was not afraid of being attacked by illusions. After understanding everything, Lin Xian began to cultivate the Tianyan visualization art. This was a way to train one's soul power. There were a total of 9 diagrams and each diagram was a unique pattern. The further one went, the more complicated it became. What Lin Xian needed to do was to use his soul force to quickly draw out the diagrams. If he could complete it within the time limit, it would be considered a success. Then, he would be able to cultivate the next diagram. Don't underestimate these diagrams. The first one had over 10,000 diagrams, densely packed together. Ordinary martial artists would feel dizzy just by looking at them. With Lin Xian's current soul power, he could easily complete the first 3 diagrams. However, he failed to complete the 4th diagram. This aroused his fighting spirit even more, so he had been cultivating the 4th diagram these days. In addition, he also cultivated a cultivation method that strengthened his blood qi, the Furious Dragon art. This was a cultivation method that increased a martial artist's blood qi and strengthened their physique. The body was a martial artist's capital. Only with a strong body could one withstand the doubled attack power. Otherwise, even if one had a powerful martial skill, they would not be able to use it. The Furious Dragon art was the best cultivation method to build a martial artist's body. The Furious Dragon art had a total of 5 levels. Each level could withstand a 5-fold increase in attack power and it could be stacked. In other words, when he reached the 5th level, Lin Xian could withstand a 25x increase in attack power. 25x. This was an unimaginable number. If he mastered it, he would be invincible in the supremacy realm. For these 2 cultivation methods, Lin Xian even prepared different pills to assist in cultivation. It could be said that he had thought it through very well. Time flew and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. A month later Lin Xian broke through. First, his great dragon sword soul broke through to the 9th level of the supremacy realm. His cultivation had also reached the 8th level of the supremacy realm. Secondly, he had already mastered the 4th diagram of the Heavens Rise visualization diagram, and his soul power had also greatly improved. He had also cultivated the Furious Dragon art to the 2nd level. It could be said that Lin Xian's strength had undergone a tremendous change. Now, he did not need to use an earth-rank martial art to easily kill an early-stage 9th level supremacy. Even a mid-stage 9th level supremacy was not his match. He could even contend with a late-stage 9th level supremacy now. In addition, he had the Starry Sky armor and the Red Lotus armor. The combination of the 2 could definitely offset 80% of any attack. At that time, even a late-stage 9th level supremacy would not be his match. This time he had taken another big step towards the King realm. Young master, you've broken through. The 9th elder and the others were very excited. They could feel a sense of fear from Lin Xian's body. After learning of this situation, the 9th elder and the 10th elder both gasped. How long had it been? The young master's strength had already surpassed them. This was something they did not dare to imagine. This was not completely the effect of resources. Even if the core disciples of the King clans were given such resources, they would not be able to improve to such an extent in a short month. Talent, this was definitely talent. Lin Xian's heaven-defying cultivation talent was something that the 9th elder and the others had rarely seen in their lives. Perhaps even the kings of the Jianghu continent could not reach such a level when they were young. This kind of talent is too powerful. The 9th elder praised. The 10th elder also nodded in satisfaction. Yes, whether it is temperament, talent, or perseverance, they are all top-notch. I'm afraid there are very few people in the continent who can be compared to the young master. What young master Ling Feng? What Jianghu 4 young masters? They're just older. If they were the same age as the young master, I'm afraid they would not be the young master's match. The 9th elder coldly snorted. After hearing this, Lin Xian smiled faintly. He did not care about the title of Jianghu 4 young masters at all. This was because his eyes had already moved away from the same generation. His target were the older generation figures, the kings who stood at the peak. Only those people could arouse his battle intent. However, there was one thing that he had to do. How is the Duan clan recently? At this time, it was time for Yu Fei to stand out. Reporting to Brother Xian, the Duan clan is already in a terrible state. Many of their core elders have been killed. Moreover, half a month ago, a half-step king gathered the heads of 3 core elders and exchanged them for a longevity pill. Oh, someone exchanged for it? Was it that half-step king from the auction? Yes, it was him. Chapter 1304. Half a month ago, a half-step king collected the heads of 3 core elders and exchanged them for a longevity pill. Yu Fei reported. Oh, someone exchanged for it? Was it that half-step king from the auction? Lin Xian asked. Yes, it was him. Is there any other news? Lin Xian asked again. Yes, although the Duan clan suffered heavy losses, it wasn't enough to topple them. Moreover, Prince Ling Feng and the martial saint were also attacked twice, but they both failed. There was even a half-step king who died in the hands of the martial saint. Hearing this news, Lin Xian was also greatly astonished. Half-step king was an existence that surpassed the martial saint realm. It was extremely terrifying. Sword Saint was also a half-step king when he was at his peak. However, such a ferocious person actually failed in his assassination. Not only that, he was even killed by the martial saint. Just how powerful is this martial saint? Lin Xian sucked in a breath of air, and a trace of seriousness appeared in his eyes. Obviously, the martial saint's strength was out of his expectations. However, thinking about it, since the other party dared to use the title of martial saint, it meant that he was extremely powerful. Young master, the martial saint is indeed difficult to deal with. Although he is only in the martial saint realm, his battle strength has already surpassed some half-step kings. It can be said that he is extremely powerful. As expected of the Duan clan, a martial saint had surpassed the half-step king realm, and there was an even more terrifying Duan clan leader above him. It could be assumed that the martial saint wasn't far from the true martial saint realm. No wonder the other party was so ambitious and wanted to seize the Palace of War while Lin Zhan was in seclusion. If it weren't for Lin Xian, the other party might have already succeeded. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I won't touch the martial saint right now. However, I won't let that Ling Feng guy go. It's time to settle some things. A trace of coldness appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Young master, you want to make a move on Prince Ling Feng? Hearing this, the eyelids of the 9th elder and the others twitched. They couldn't help but be shocked. Although Lin Xian's strength had increased greatly, Prince Ling Feng wasn't an ordinary person. He was one of the 4 peak experts of the younger generation. Furthermore, Sir Ling Feng had the advantage of his age. Therefore he was much stronger than Lin Xian. Not only that, but he also had countless experts around him. It would be extremely difficult to kill him. Not long ago, there was a half-step king warrior who tried to assassinate young Master Ling Feng but failed. One could imagine how difficult it would be to assassinate young noble Ling Feng. But now, Lin Xian actually said that he wanted to touch young Master Ling Feng. Young Master, please reconsider. Although that young Master Ling Feng deserves to die, now is not the time to make a move on him. 9th elder shook his head. The 10th elder also advised, that's right, young master. Why don't you wait until you've reached the 9th heavenly layer before making a move? However, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. The Duan clan is powerful. Although they are being suppressed now, it won't be long before they recover from their shock. At that time it will be too late to make a move. Taking advantage of their current situation, we should make a move decisively. At least, we should get rid of that young Master Ling Feng first. Speaking up to hear, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Moreover, I don't plan to fight him head-on. I have my own methods. Young master, if you have any methods, just tell us. If it's feasible, we will agree. But if the success rate isn't high, us old men won't let you take the risk. 9th elder and 10th elder spoke in unison. Indeed, Lin Xian had a noble status. He was their young master and their hope. They wouldn't allow any danger to befall Lin Xian. Lin Xian seemed very confident. He slowly said, we can set up a trap and make him come out of the Duan clan. Just like how he set me up, we can do the same to him. Hearing this, 9th elder and 10th elder were puzzled. Although that's the case, how can we lure him out? The Duan clan is in a bad situation now. With his vigilance, he probably won't come out. Lin Xian smiled. I just destroyed one of his secret bases. He must want to kill me now. If I report my whereabouts to him, he will definitely bring people here. No, it's too dangerous. Elders, I'm not done yet. Why don't you listen to me and make a decision? Lin Xian continued, last time he sent Skynet to kill me, and I controlled a person named Falcon. This assassin's cultivation is at the 8th heaven of the Venerable Realm. Although he's not the top, he should be considered an upper echelon of Skynet. I want to use him to lure out the leader of Skynet. As long as he comes out, I'm confident that I can control him. How about this? I'll use the leader of Skynet as a spy to send a message to young Master Ling Feng. I'm sure he won't suspect anything. As long as we set up an inescapable net and a killing formation, we'll definitely be able to kill him. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Ninth Elder and the others were shocked. What? Young Master, you've also controlled Skynet? They were too shocked. Skynet was an extremely powerful assassin organization in the Blood Realm. Their actions were extremely strange. Moreover, even if they failed, they would self-destruct and no one would be caught. But now, Lin Xian had actually controlled one of their people. This was too shocking. If that's really the case, then this matter might not be impossible. Ninth Elder nodded in agreement. This was indeed a good opportunity to kill young Master Ling Feng. Although young Master Ling Feng was only of the younger generation, he was a symbol of the Duan clan. Moreover, he was the most famous person in the Jianghu continent. If he was killed, the Duan clan would definitely suffer an unimaginable loss. This was also what Ninth Elder and the others wanted to see, so they were tempted. However, 10th Elder frowned and said, although that's the case, we're not strong enough to kill everyone in the Duan clan. At most, we'll be able to tie. Don't worry about that. With Ruffian Long here, we can definitely set up a peerless killing formation. Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, leave it to me. I'll definitely kill them. As long as it's not a king, there won't be any problems. Crimson Divine Dragon was very confident. If he was given time to set up a killing formation, he was even confident that he could kill a half-step king. Ninth Elder and the others also knew a little about Crimson Divine Dragon's origin. Now that he had spoken so confidently, they immediately let go of their worries. Young Master, what do you need us to do? Lin Xian pondered for a moment. Crimson Divine Dragon said, I want to set up a killing formation and I need some special materials. I'll make a list and you guys should quickly find them. Indeed, this wasn't an ordinary formation. It was a killing formation that could kill half-step kings, and it needed special materials to set it up. Crimson Divine Dragon waved his claws and quickly made a list. Chapter 1305. Skynet was an extremely mysterious assassin organization in the Blood Realm. Now that it was controlled by young Master Ling Feng, it had become a sharp sword in his hands. These years, Skynet had assassinated many peerless experts for young Master Ling Feng. Among them, there were many 9th-level venerables and even peak 9th-level venerables. There were even rumors that Skynet had once assassinated a half-step king at its peak, and had even succeeded. This statement added a bit of ferocity to the Skynet organization. It could be said that Skynet was an extremely powerful organization. Even ordinary 6th-grade sects didn't dare to provoke them. Falcon was an assassin of heavenly kings, and a 4-star assassin at that. Skynet's assassins were ranked from 1 to 5 stars according to their strength. A 4-star assassin could already assassinate any 8th-level venerables. Could be said that they were the backbone of Skynet. On this day, Falcon brought back a shocking piece of news. What? You said you found traces of Lin Xian? Falcon's news shocked many people. Among them, the eyes of several 5-star assassins blossomed with terrifying light. Where is he? Quickly informed the head venerate and young Master Ling Feng about this. Many people moved quickly. However, Falcon shook his head and said, it's useless. Even if young Master Ling Feng knows, I'm afraid he won't have time to counterattack. Because Lin Xian's speed is very fast. I'm afraid he'll reach a safe place soon. At that time we won't be able to make a move. Damn it, that kid is too cunning. No matter what, we can't let him go this time. I'll go inform the head venerate. Among them, a gray-robed old man said with a grave expression, Falcon, you come with me. The head venerate was the leader of heavenly kings. He was incomparably mysterious. Apart from young Master Ling Feng and a few 5-star assassins, no one else knew what the head venerate looked like. And now, Falcon, a 4-star assassin, actually had the chance to see the head venerate. It had to be said that this was too shocking. At the same time, this also showed how important Lin Xian's information was. After passing through layers of secret passages and arrays, Falcon finally arrived in front of a pavilion. He knew that this was where the head venerate lived. Remember, you only need to tell us what you know. As for other things, you don't need to say anything. The gray-robed old man warned coldly. My lord, don't worry. I know what to say. Falcon nodded respectfully. However, an undetectable light flashed in his eyes. Head venerate, I have an urgent matter to report. In the next moment, the gray-robed old man respectfully said, Come in. A cold voice rang out. Then, the pitch-black door in front of them suddenly opened, revealing a gloomy passage that seemed to lead to the netherworld. Falcon took a deep breath and followed the gray-robed elder into the passageway. This was a curved staircase with ancient walls on both sides. Hanging above were oil lamps with flickering flames. Although the stairs were not high, Falcon seemed to have experienced thousands of years. Finally, he arrived at the highest level. There was a large hall there, surrounded by dark green flames. Seeing the flames, Falcon's pupils shrank as he recalled a rumor. That was because this kind of dark green flame used the flesh and blood of powerhouses as lamp oil. Thinking of this, Falcon broke out in a cold sweat. Then he withdrew his gaze from the green flames and looked to both sides. He saw white skulls hanging on the walls on both sides. Beside each skull was a line of small words. Falcon took a closer look and realized that those were the names and cultivations of the cultivators. He realized that those people were all Ninth Heaven supremacies when they were alive. The strongest were even peak Ninth Heaven supremacies. They were densely packed and innumerable. The walls on both sides seemed to be made of white bones. Was this the true strength of the Skynet organization? It was simply too terrifying. Falcon felt a chill in his heart. This was the first time he had seen such a scene. If others knew of this, their jaws would definitely drop. One had to know that Ninth Heaven supremacies were the backbone of any sect. They were also peerless experts in the eyes of others. However, there were actually countless Ninth Heaven supremacy skulls hanging in this hall. It was simply too shocking. Greetings, Head Venerate. The gray-robed old man bowed respectfully. Falcon also withdrew his thoughts and knelt on the ground respectfully. He kowtowed and shouted at the same time, Greetings, Head Venerate. There was a throne made of white bones. It was about 2 meters tall and pure white. It emitted a terrifying baleful aura. At the front of the armrest, there were 2 skulls that flickered with a strange light. Those were the skulls of half-step kings. At this moment, there was a slender palm above the skulls. The slender fingers lightly tapped on the bones. A cold voice resounded in the void, What business do you have? Reporting to Head Venerate, we have discovered Lin Xian's tracks. The gray-robed old man bowed and said, What? Hearing this, the voice in front suddenly became solemn. At the same time, a surge of killing intent surged out and instantly covered the entire hall. When this killing intent appeared, the gray-robed old man and Falcon trembled and broke out in cold sweat. They were like small boats in a storm that could be swallowed up at any time. Where is that fellow now? Tell me in detail. It's like this. This news came from the 4-star assassin, Falcon. How about we let him explain it to you? The gray-robed old man said and looked at Falcon. Falcon took a deep breath and raised his head to look ahead. He saw that on the cold white bone throne sat an ice mountain-like figure. It was a woman. She sat on the white bone throne like an emperor. She wore a black robe with a blood-red totem on it. She wore a golden mask and her face couldn't be seen. Only a pair of cold eyes without any emotions looked down. Reporting to Head Venerate, it's like this. Falcon quickly said. Luo Head Venerate heard this and coldly said, There's no need to report this to Prince Ling Feng. We'll deal with it ourselves. Yes. The gray-robed old man said respectfully, This subordinate will go organize people. No need, I'll go myself. Luo Head Venerate stood up and his cold voice resounded, That brat is full of tricks. He must have a peerless expert protecting him. It's not that I don't believe in your strength, but I don't want any accidents to happen this time. So I'll go myself. Hearing this, the gray-robed old man was shocked. How many years had it been since the Head Venerate personally made a move? One had to know that not only did the Head Venerate have a high position, he was also the strongest in Skynet. When Luo Head Venerate made a move before, even those peak 9th layer Venerates would tremble. He never thought that he would have to deal with a brat. Chapter 1306. In the past, when Luo Head Venerate made a move, even those peak 9th layer Venerables would tremble. Who would have thought that she would have to deal with a brat now? But this was also good. With the Head Venerate making a move, there would be no mistakes. The gray-robed elder also let out a sigh of relief because Lin Xian had given them a lot of pressure during this period of time. The other party had created storm after storm, pressuring them until they couldn't breathe. Now, with the Head Venerate making a move, they could definitely kill him. Falcon knelt on the ground, his heart filled with joy. He was now Lin Xian's slave. His goal this time was naturally to lead the Head Venerate to make a move. Now it seemed like he had achieved his goal. Since she had decided to personally assassinate Lin Xian, Luo Head Venerate no longer hesitated. She looked at the gray-robed elder and said, You can leave. Then she looked at Falcon, who was kneeling on the ground, and said coldly, "You come with me." "Yes." The gray-robed elder and Falcon respectfully agreed. Falcon then stood up while the gray-robed elder quickly retreated. In an instant, only Falcon and the golden-masked Luo head venerate were left in the hall. "Dark Crow, come out," Luo head venerate shouted. Then the void split open and a strange crow flew out from the darkness, landing on the head venerate's shoulder. The crow was completely black like black jade, but its eyes were blood red. Not only that, its body also had a cold aura. Falcon swallowed his saliva. He had heard of this kind of crow before. This was a type of demonic beast. It was extremely evil and specialized in eating the corpses of experts. It also had powerful illusion and concealment abilities. To an assassin, it was the best companion. However, this kind of crow was extremely rare and hard to feed. In the entire Skynet organization, only Luo Head Venerate had it. Luo Head Venerate waved her sleeve and an invisible force surged out, enveloping Falcon. Then the two disappeared. When they reappeared, they were already in the sky. The dark crow cawed twice, and then its body quickly grew to a size of more than 10 meters. It flapped its wings and quickly disappeared with Luo Head Venerate and Falcon. In a forest not far from Immortal Martial Academy, Lin Xian sat on a huge rock. On the side, the dark red dragon and the snow-white fox were lazily leaning against each other. The surroundings were very quiet. No demonic beasts dared to disturb them. All of a sudden, Lin Xian opened his eyes as a cold smirk appeared at the corner of his lips. "He's here." Through the beast slave seal, he was able to learn from Falcon that Skynet had already taken action. Next, he just needed to keep track of their whereabouts. After some time, Lin Xian stood up and said to the dark red dragon and the snow-white monkey beside him, "They're coming soon. Stop fooling around." Both of them knew the severity of the situation, so they quieted down. Lin Xian quickly formed a seal with his hands, using the Blood Sword legacy to create a Blood Shadow doppelganger. Apart from him, no one else could tell if this Blood Shadow doppelganger was real or fake. After having his doppelganger sit cross-legged on the boulder, Lin Xian set up a magic array as a defense for his doppelganger. Then he brought the Crimson Divine Dragon and the little monkey to hide. With the dark red dragon, even if they hid nearby, they wouldn't be discovered. Not long after they were done, a gray ray of light appeared in the sky. It was the Luo Head Venerate and the others. However, the two of them were hiding in the void and didn't release any aura. Especially the Luo Head Venerate, his entire body seemed to be transparent. If it wasn't for Falcon as a spy, Lin Xian wouldn't have been able to discover them. "Head Venerate, that brat is below," Falcon transmitted from the side. "You stay here and don't move. Be careful and hide your aura," Luo Shou Honored Master instructed before flying down. She was very fast and instantly arrived above Lin Xian's doppelganger. "Magic array?" Disdain appeared in the Luo Head Venerate's eyes. Then she slowly pulled out a treasured blade. The entire process was silent. Although the magic array below looked very exquisite to outsiders, it was useless against her. Her figure flashed and she turned into a flash of light, her speed reaching the extreme. The exquisite magic array didn't have any use as it was pierced through by the Luo Head Venerate. In the next moment, a blade light flashed. Boundless killing intent turned into a fine blade light that instantly slashed down. The entire void was like a mirror, splitting in half from the middle. This blade was clean, efficient, and vicious. No one in the realm of paragons could block it. The figure sitting on the boulder was no exception. His body was instantly split in half. However, the Luo Head Venerate quickly frowned. She noticed that the body that fell wasn't a real person but a pool of blood. Doppelganger? Her pupils constricted as she had a bad feeling in her heart. The other party actually made a doppelganger here. What did he want to do? Did he lure her out? Or did he run away the moment she made her move? She didn't know. So in the next moment, the Luo Head Venerate's eyes were like lightning as she looked around, wanting to find the person hiding in the dark. However, at this time, a burst of applause came from behind. "Amazing, truly amazing. That blade just now, even a peak 9th level paragon wouldn't be able to block it." A voice rang out, breaking the silence. Oh. The Luo Head Venerate's body froze as her hair stood on end. Before she made her move, she had already looked around and didn't find anyone. But now, someone had walked out from behind her. If the other party was an absolute expert, if they made a move against her, she would already be dead. In the next moment, she suddenly turned around. Her body released countless blade lights that formed a defense. "What? It's you?" The Luo Head Venerate's expression changed. She didn't think that the person behind her would be Lin Xian. He was the target she wanted to kill. This was your trap? The Luo head venerate was smart and instantly understood. She gave a cold snort. You spent so much effort, what is your goal? While speaking, she quickly looked around to prevent herself from being surrounded. She knew about the Duan family's villa being destroyed. She also knew that Lin Xian had a powerful force in his hands that could destroy 9th-level paragons. So at this moment she was extremely careful. She was afraid of being surrounded by the experts Lin Xian brought. After all, no matter how strong she was, she wouldn't be able to block the combined attacks of countless absolute experts. Relax, I didn't bring anyone else. Lin Xian said with a faint smile. The Luo head venerate looked around and didn't find anyone. She gave a cold laugh. Do you think you can stop me by yourself? She looked at Lin Xian, the killing intent in her eyes not hidden at all. Although the assassination didn't succeed, it wasn't too late to make a move now. After all, the other party's cultivation and strength couldn't compare to hers. If she wanted to make a move, no one would be able to stop her. One blade, she only needed one blade to kill the other party. Chapter 1307. One slash, she only needed one slash and she would be able to kill him. However, she didn't slash out. Not only that, she was completely stunned. Because Falcon quickly descended from the sky and came nearby, respectfully bowing to Lin Xian. Master. Falcon respectfully called out, like an incomparably devout believer. Get up. Lin Xian nodded. Luo head sect saw this and was incomparably shocked. Betrayal. Someone from their Heaven's Net organization actually betrayed them. This was simply too hard to believe. One had to know that the Heaven's Net assassins were all trained from young, they were absolutely loyal to the organization. Even if they met with certain death, they would self-destruct, they would never reveal any information. Could be said that they were loyal, they would never betray them. But now, someone actually betrayed them and it was a 4-star assassin. How did he do it? Falcon, why did you betray us? Luo head sect didn't understand. Because he is my master. Falcon's expression was cold, like he didn't recognize Luo head sect. Luo head sect snorted. Although I don't know why you betrayed us, you actually dared to betray the organization. There is no way for you to live. Falcon's betrayal truly made Luo head sect furious. However, Lin Xian just sneered. Rather than threatening him here, why not think about his own situation? You spent so much effort to get Falcon to betray us, your goal was to lure me out? Luo head sect sneered in disdain. What, do you think you can kill me with your strength? Kill you? No. Lin Xian shook his head. You're so strong and proficient in assassination, if you die it would be a pity. However, if you can become my servant and work for me, then my strength will increase by another notch. That would be the best result. What? You want to get me to betray you? Luo head sect was stunned, then snorted, truly naive. Brat, stop with your flowery words, die for me. Luo head sect shouted, the long blade in his hand slashed down. The saber light was shocking and the killing intent was shocking. This saber strike was incredibly terrifying. Most likely, even a 9th heaven venerable would not be able to withstand it. However, Lin Xian used the furious dragon incantation and illusory demon steps at the same time, exploding with 5 times the speed. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fan dodged the terrifying attack. With a flip of his palm, the 1000-beast cauldron floated in the air. What? He dodged it? This was impossible. How can he be so fast? Luo head venerate was shocked. She didn't believe it. One had to realize that this saber strike of hers was extremely frightening. There was absolutely no 9th heaven venerated cultivator that could block it. However, the other party's speed was really too astonishing. In fact, it was even faster than her saber light. Her face darkened. She wanted to attack again, but in the next moment, her body trembled. This was because a black ray of light suddenly flew out from the small black cauldron floating in the void and instantly entered between her eyebrows. Luo head venerate's body trembled as he let out a pitiful cry. Clang. The treasured saber in his hand also fell to the ground. His entire being had descended into madness. Get out of here. Luo head venerate roared, releasing a powerful killing intent. This killing intent condensed into a formless saber that fiercely slashed at the black light. However, she had still underestimated the 1000-beast cauldron. That was an earth-grade treasure. Its power was unfathomable. If Lin Xian used the great dragon sword spirit, he might be able to block it. However, Luo head venerate couldn't. Although she was a 9th heaven venerate and her killing intent was shocking, facing an earth-grade treasure, she had no chance of resisting. However, Lin Xian was also shocked. Last time, when he had subdued Falcon, it had only been an instant. However, this time, after such a long stalemate, the other party still hadn't completely subdued him. It had to be said that this was too shocking. As expected of the head venerate of the Heaven's Net organization, her strength was truly strong. Lin Xian sighed in shock. Luckily, he had the Thousand Beast Cauldron and the Beast Slave imprint. Otherwise, if he had to face Luo Head Venerate, he wouldn't be able to fight a huge battle. However, even so, using the Thousand Beast Cauldron this time had cost him a broken earth-grade treasure. This price was extremely expensive. After an incense's time, Luo Head Venerate's legs went soft and she sat on the ground. It was as if she had gone through a huge battle and didn't have any strength left. Lin Xian took out a pill from his storage ring and flicked it out. "Eat it." Luo Head Venerate listened and obediently picked up the pill on the ground and put it in her mouth. Very quickly she recovered her strength. "Master." In the next moment she stood up and walked over to Lin Xian and knelt down gently. At the side, Falcon also knelt down respectfully. If anyone saw this scene, their jaws would drop. Who was the head venerate of the Heaven's Net organization, an extremely powerful 9th Heaven Venerate. Her status was equivalent to the sect master of a 6th-rank sect. Such a person was an existence that could call the wind and summon the rain in the sky martial continent, a peerless expert in the eyes of the world. However, right now she was kneeling in front of Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. Then he stretched out his finger and gestured, "What's your name?" "Luo Bingshan." A moving voice rang out. "Very good, I'll call you Bingshan from now on. Now stand up," Lin Xian said. "Yes, master." After receiving the order, Luo Bingshan quickly stood up. At the side, Falcon was still kneeling respectfully on the ground, his head buried deep in the ground. "Bingshan, take off your mask." Lin Xian was very curious, what kind of face was under the golden mask. To be honest, when he saw Luo Bingshan previously, he was also very surprised. He did not expect the leader of the Heaven's Net organization to be a woman. Furthermore, it was a mysterious woman wearing a mask. As a man, he still had this bit of curiosity. "Yes." Luo Bingshan replied respectfully. Then, she stretched out her slender hands and gently took off the golden mask on her face. At the side, Falcon was still kneeling respectfully on the ground. Without Lin Xian's order, he would not move at all. The golden mask was slowly taken off and a beautiful face appeared in front of him. Lin Xian was also slightly surprised. He did not expect the other party to be so beautiful. Delicate facial features and a white face, she was like a peerless beauty. However, she had a gloomy aura, as if she was 1,000 miles away from people. Indeed, she had the temperament of an ice beauty. "Put it on," Lin Xian said. "Yes, master." Soon, Bingshan put the golden mask on her face again. However, from her gaze, it could be seen that she was extremely respectful to Lin Xian. Think of a way to lure child Lingfeng out. Next, Lin Xian began to assign tasks to Luo Bingshan. After everything was done, Lin Xian let them go back. Looking at their backs, a cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Humph, child Lingfeng, it's time to settle the score with you. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.